Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I hope I'm audible, everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. So, welcome to Sangeeta's
Good
Cooking
morning,
Mantra's online bootcamp classes. All of you need to be on mute at all times so that you can understand and follow what I'm instructing. Number one. Number two, please have a pen, paper handy so that if you feel like noting down something, you have that option with you. I can see some of my students already. Hi, Sarika, I can see you there. Lovely. Okay, so
My name is Sonu and I've joined Sangeeta Baking Academy 1 month ago and it was a wonderful experience. Totally a beginner. I was very low confident at how to start and all, but once I joined this academy I was so confident. I can't even believe that I am getting so many orders now. Around 15 to 20 orders I've done along with the course which I'm attending right now. It's all because of the classes which ma'am gave. The way she teaches and all. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम खुद करके दिखाएंगे. It's like students को खुद practice करना है. हर एक चीज she is like you practice. She is there to guide you properly, but everything is like you practice. So baking is just not a cakewalk. There are lot many challenges जो हमें आते थे and ma'am was always there to support us. And we just not learn making cakes. We also learn how to make cupcakes, how to make tea cakes, mini loaves, and lot many higher techniques of making cake, hand painting cakes, fondant toppers, semi-fondant cakes. And thank you, ma'am. So my love to SCM. Thank you.
it is called our 30 days baking bootcamp.
From Bhopal.
Incredible mentor.
Sangeeta Mam being the sweetest.
Amazing. मैं इतनी confident हूँ.
मैम की जो टेक्निक्स है आप गलत जा ही नहीं सकते. मुझे बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस मिला. Anyone cannot beat her. It's way too good.
I have took a good decision.
10 बार पूछो 15 बार पूछो she always there. मुझे नहीं लगता इसके बाद मुझे कोई बेकिंग क्लासेस लेने की जरूरत है. Yes, it was a very nice class.
I highly recommend this course to everyone of you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm back here. Thank you for your patience. Just wanted to allow everybody to join in because it's going to be a super interactive and super detailed class. Now, I hope everybody can hear me. Am I audible? Please give me a thumbs up. So let's not make it boring. I'm going to make it super interactive. You all will have to be there, but in mute so that all of you can listen to what I'm sharing and explaining. But you have your emojis, you have your chat available where you can type. And give me a thumbs up first, everybody, if I'm audible enough. Thank you, Anamika. Okay, lovely. Great. So welcome to Sangeeta's Cooking Mantra's online basic bootcamp, in which we are not just going to cover all the recipes, egg-free recipes, the detailed recipes, mother recipes, but also techniques from fondant, ganache, sugar flowers, hand-painted cakes, name it, and we are covering it there. Okay. Now, few things that I want to share before we start the class. Okay. Can I get the chat, please? I just need to see the chat. Wonderful. Okay, so how many of you bake already? How many of you bake already? Can you please rename yourself Oppo CPH2325? Okay, lovely. So if you bake and you're still opted for the online bootcamp, which means you want to polish your skills, number one, either polish your skills or there are some mistakes that you're still making that you want to clarify and improve on. And this is not just a online class. Maybe that's why also you're opting for this class, because we are covering fondant, semi-fondant cakes, we're covering sugar flowers, ganache cakes, we're covering whipped cream, and we are covering hand-painted cakes, right? Is that so? Okay. Lovely. Great. And Anmika is saying that somebody's mic is on. Can you please check if everybody needs to be on mute, please? That's a request. Please be on mute, everyone. If you're not on mute, then I will have to keep screaming and you will miss out on some important pointers, which I really don't want. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible now? Lovely. So that's why your response is very, very important. Thank you so much. Thank you, Malini. Now, so before I start, I just wanted to share that. Okay, so Malini here is 68 years old, and sorry, I'm 40 years old. So we are all ladies here. No problem to disclose our ages. And salute and hats off to you for your zeal to be in an online class. If she has the enthu, I think all of us can do it. So I was just sharing my journey. All those who don't know me, my name is Sangeeta Roy Ghosh, and I'm the founder of Sangeeta's Cooking Mantra. I've been in this industry since 2015 now. And I don't have a mentor till date. Whatever I have learned and I'm doing is completely through my experiments and learnings. And I just have to share one thing, that the recipes that I'm going to share with all of you today is going to be my professional recipes that I'm using since years. Once I started baking with these recipes, I have never gone back to any other recipes. So there is Sarika here who had recently attended one of my wedding cake classes, the recent ones, and she knows how, because she's tasted the sponge that we made in the class, so she knows how wonderful it is. So she kept on saying that, ma'am, bahut acha hai, because she had a problem that whenever she wanted to bake something which was like a professional style baking, so she had to opt for what are they called? Premixes. Okay. So how many of you bake through premixes? Let's be very honest. All right. So let's be very honest with each other. That is how we are going to learn. So how many of you bake through premixes? This is my camera actually. When I look here, when I look a little away, that's actually my big screen where I can see you all. So I'm always looking at you through here or there. So, okay, me too, ma'am. Both I'm using me. I'm new to baking, ma'am. No idea. I do premix sometime and scratch. Okay. So I can promise you that once you start using our recipes, you will not go back to premixes. Why not premixes? See, me being a mentor, I have never ever baked a premix sponge. Okay. And I don't suggest my students to bake using premixes because number one, what are we? We are home bakers, aren't we? Are we commercial bakers? We are not, right? We call ourselves as home bakers. So when we are calling ourselves as home bakers using premix ka matlab hota hai, somebody is asking, ma'am, what is a premix? Roy, can you please rename yourself? So premix is basically pre-mix. It's from the name. It's ready to use instant mix of your cake batter, cake mixture, not a batter, cake mixture. The dry ingredients are already set in the premix, which you can use by adding in the wet ingredients, which is listed behind the label of the packet. Now, why don't I prefer using premixes? Is because it has preservatives in it. It's added preservatives, cake gels, and chemicals. And I, as a mentor, as a baker, would never ever prefer using premixes. I've never baked using premixes till date. So it's a humble request to each one of you. If you call yourself a home baker, please stop using premixes. Why? I'll give you a valid reason for it. Number one, premixes are expensive. They are not very cost effective. But the recipe that I'm going to share you today are very, very cost effective, and it's going to take you a long way through your business. I am not using milk-made recipes because milk-made recipes are number one, very easy to find on YouTube channels. We have all been to YouTube, isn't it? Yes or no? It's very difficult to find. It's very easy to find YouTube, the recipes with milkmaid. But trust me, I have never seen a customer who would like the taste of a milkmaid based sponge. Why? Because no matter what flavor you make, it's always going to give you out that milkmaid, milky kind of a flavor. Number one. Number two, it's expensive on your pocket as well. Milkmaid is expensive, right? So customers will not, and also it really is very sweet, overly sweet. Number three, if you set it in the refrigerator, it becomes very, very dense. Okay, and nobody likes a dense sponge, right? So that's why you have to follow as I say. So how many of you are really ready to follow what I say? See, I have been in the industry for since 2015. Now it's been 9 years of journey. And I'm already sharing platform with those bakers who have started baking 25, 30 years back. And I am at the level, I started being at the same level within 3 to 4 years. So I have actually cracked the market. Okay. So if you really are passionate about your baking, if you really want to crack the market, if you have the enthusiasm that you really want to become a successful baker in this industry, you have to follow, as I say, there is no other way. Okay, because I am only going to share what I do in my business, that I'm very honest, and whatever I do in my business is all that I'm going to share with you. It's completely your choice whether you do it or not. मैंने अपना business build कर दिया है, आपको करना है तो आपको follow करना पड़ेगा, simple as that. Now, few things before we start. Number one is, see, I have my pointers ready so that I do not miss out on any of the things. Number one is the online class that you have opted for is our online bootcamp. So I got a lot of requests for our bootcamp classes, which is usually an offline class of a 1 month class, right? But not everybody can travel for a month's time to Delhi. Although we have students coming in, almost everybody is from outside Delhi. They come and stay here, hotels, PGs, and other accommodations and do the class. But for rest of you, I know it's not always possible. So that's why we took the plunge of having the online bootcamp classes. Now, when we have the online bootcamp classes, what happens is the classes are completely detailed and pre-recorded. All right. In a step-by-step manner, so that you start with the orientation, then you start with basic baking day 1, day 2, so on and so forth. Okay. That is how you're going to go. The classes are super duper detailed. Why I prefer keeping the classes recorded is because so that you can go back to it back and forth. As in, आप उसको pause कर सकते हैं, आप उसको recipe साथ साथ बना सकते हैं. Now, in the live session, I don't want it to be a make along. I have a valid reason for that. See, suppose it's a make along. All of us, those who are in this class, I think not even half of you have joined, and the rest of you are going to offer the online classes. So what happens is, when I start making the batter or recipe, all of you are from different parts of the country and abroad. So what happens is your internet connection might not be working fine. You might have lags, you might be working, you might be outside. So you miss out on the recipes. And once I pour in a wet ingredient in the dry ingredient, or I mix the dry ingredients, it's impossible for me to separate the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients, isn't it? You do understand that, right? So that ways you miss out. So I don't want you to miss out that way. So what you can do is, instead, please be with me in the live sessions, understand why and what and how we are doing it. And as a name, Sangeeta Mam ne bolte hai, ye aise karna hai, you have to understand the why, what and how of it. Okay, the logic behind it. Now, once you do it, once you understand that, you have the recipes, the classes, pre-recorded, super detailed, that you can go back to again and again and again. Now, once you have any queries, जो भी आपके questions है, queries है, once you watch the recipes, I would suggest, please go through the recipe videos at least twice. एक बारी में देख के और fast forward करके मत देखना, please. It's a request. If you do a fast forward, you miss out on the minute details. I have a habit of teaching in a very, very detailed way. So when you do a fast forward, I understand reels देख के हमारी ऐसी आदत हो गई है, shorts देख के ऐसी आदत हो गई है. But जब हमें कुछ सीखना है, जब हमें कुछ क्लास में सीखना है, तो हमें detailed video चाहिए. That's why we are not learning from YouTube videos. We are in a detailed class. Now, when it's a detailed class, and because it's an online class, it has to be further more detailed, isn't it? अगर मैं reels की तरह या shorts की तरह बना दूं तो आपको नहीं समझ आएगा. You won't be able to learn. So I have to guide you in a step-by-step way. Now the recipes are in place, the Q&As are in place. So हर recipe के बाद हमने class में Q&A भी रखा है. So after today's class also and every day's class, we're going to have a Q&A also in the end of the session. Q&As को भी आप please देखिए, because 90% of your problems will get solved through the Q&As. It's the same repeat question that comes in again and again and again. Apart from that, if you have any other question, you have the group for you. And I can vouch for it. I know from my students and everybody, we have been nominated and awarded the best academy with a lot of respect this year for a reason, because the kind of assistance that we provide to our students and customers, nobody else does. Okay, so that is why what I got to know from our students also, लोग group बना देते हैं, बोलते हैं कि group में पूछेंगे बोलेंगे कोई help नहीं करता. But my groups are always running. All those who are in our assistance group, they know how I'm completely with the students in the groups. If you send me personal messages, you won't get an answer. I'm really sorry, because we have more than 50,000 students now, so I don't check the personal messages. But I'm always active in the groups. आपको कोई भी problem हो related to the class that you're taking, if you put it in the group, there it will come to my notice first. All right. So first thing is online. Now, why are we hosting this online bootcamp? It's after a lot of requests that I'm doing this online bootcamp. Although we have all the classes pre-recorded in HD, detailed, step by step, but I wanted to have this personal interaction with all of you in the class. That's why I'm going to come for 5 days, and we are giving you 5 days bonus online interaction and class with me. So from today, we are going to start with basic baking, which is making the sponges, understanding the sponges, understanding the ingredients that goes in the sponges, the detailed recipes, the science behind the recipes, everything we are going to do today. All right. Now, next is the classes I have mentioned already. Okay, even if you miss out on the classes, like I see that 1/3 of you have joined. If you miss out on the classes, don't worry, because you are going to get the pre-recorded sessions. You can watch them and you can post whatever queries you have in the class. But one request I will make is, देखो, we have to work hand in hand. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि सारी मेहनत मैं करूं, आप कुछ ना करो, ग्रुप में बैठे बैठे मैम. No, I don't believe in spoon feeding. The group is there for your assistance and I am there to assist you always. But I will have to see that you have done your part, which is you have to go through the videos really well. You have to have attempted the recipes. Okay? If you don't attend the recipes, अगर आप shorts या videos या Instagram reels की तरह videos को देखते हो and you come with a heap of questions, sorry, I'm not doing that. Because I know you have cheated. Okay? So we have to be honest with each other. आपको बहुत ध्यान से videos देखनी है, and there is no rush. Now, I'll tell you one example. When you are in school or college, to get through a job, आपको 12 साल पढ़ाई करनी पड़ती है. You have to study for 12 years in school. After that, graduations. After that, post-graduations. Minimum, how many years? 18 years, right? After that, you do something specialization and then get a job. But when you want to be a baker, it's just 2 months journey. Not more than that. 2 months भी बहुत ज़्यादा बोल रही हूँ उनके लिए जिनके पास regular basis पे practice करने का time नहीं है. So if you cannot give yourself this much time that you start watching the videos in detail and start making the recipes in detail, if you do not have that enthu and energy, I'm sorry, you have to quit. You cannot become a baker. मैम की क्लास लेने से आप बेकर नहीं बन जाओगे. आपको खुद से बनाना भी तो ऐसे. If I am making my recipes, the sponge is going to stay with me. If you need a sponge, you have to make it. Simple as that. है ना? तो आपको वो चीज बनानी पड़ेगी. आपको वो experience करना पड़ेगा. Now, when you experience it, then you understand where you're going wrong, where you're going right. If you're facing a problem, you can come with the problem to me, and I'm there to solve all your problems. ओके, बट आपको बना के देखना पड़ेगा. ऐसे नहीं मैं आपने वीडियोस दी और वीडियो आधे घंटे में फिनिश करके, व्हाई आई एम शेयरिंग दिस इज आई हैव स्टूडेंट्स. Those who will register now and in 15-20 minutes time, they will come. They have registered for Bootcamp where there are like 20-25 recipes, techniques, 40 recipes, I don't know how many. So, and then they come and tell me that, ma'am, this was not there, that was not there, this is there, what is this? We don't know what is that, because you have not been through it. ये instant नहीं होता ना, ये मैगी थोड़ी है noodles. पैकेट फाड़ो पानी डालो और हो गया नूडल ऐसे नहीं होता एंड यू हैव टू बी द मास्टर ऑफ योर रेसिपीज सी यू हैव टू बी द मास्टर ऑफ योर बिजनेस आपकी टीम हो सकती है आपके हेल्प हो सकते हैं बट अगर आप खुद नहीं हो ना तो आपकी टीम भी नहीं काम करना चाहिए मेरी टीम तो नहीं करना चाहती मेरे बिना सो दे ऑलवेज वांट मी हियर मैम आप यहाँ हो तो जल्दी हो जाए इट्स अ टीम वर्क ऑलवेज सब साथ में रहते तो काम करने में मजा आता है सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इवन इफ इट I'll give you an example. अगर आप पार्लर का भी एग्जाम्पल लो ना जो सलॉन वगैरह में काम करते हैं सो द हेड ऑफ द सलॉन she or he himself they themselves know the work so if the staff is not there you have to be there replacing them so you have to be the master of your recipes your product your techniques and everything to hire a staff followed everyone now we are not going to miss out on anything. If you miss out on the class today, no problem. You can join tomorrow's class. Rest, you're going to get all the recordings. Now, if you follow whatever I'm teaching through this boot camp, you can earn in lakhs from home. And I mean it because my students are doing it. And there are so many students who have started. The day before yesterday, I got a call from Divya. She was one of my online students, and she has never taken a physical class till date. And it was a pre-recorded class, and she has started supplying to ITC. She's in Hyderabad. So I think soon in the month of February, I plan to go to Hyderabad. If possible, I'll go and meet her there. She started her own studio. She started. She was so happy, and she was one of my students from pre-COVID batch. Or COVID batch. So we are still in touch. They are doing wonderfully well. That batch, COVID times batch, they're doing wonderfully well. So please be at it. Okay. Now you can actually, and those are the students, those who are making, in Christmas, they are making around 300, 400, 500 Christmas cakes and selling. They're doing 5 times more business than we are. And it's absolutely, they don't do classes. They're only doing baking and supplying to big names. And that's possible when you master the recipes and techniques well. Okay. Now you have to follow the recipes and classes step by step. I've told you no shortcut, please. And please go through the questions. If you don't, yes, this is Divya. And she was sharing her experience. Can we play this? Okay, I think it's slow now. We're trying again.
Own business only because of her. And today, ma'am. Hi everyone, this is Divya Raju, and I am a home baker. And I just want to tell you about the journey of my home baking. And my brand name is Diya's Cakes and Bakes. Today, I am the owner of Diya's Cakes and Bakes. And I have never thought that I am going to do my own business, and this is only because of my tutor, my guider, my mentor, my friend, and the owner of SCM, Mrs. Sangeta. She is an awesome lady. The way she treats her students, the way she guides her students, and really in this lockdown it has been helped me a lot, and I have started my own business only because of her. And today, ma'am, with your recipes, I have in past 2 months I have baked 54 cakes, and I am running a cool business here in my city, Hyderabad. And I am really thankful for you, ma'am, that whatever I gain, I really tribute it to you only. I'm proud of to be a part of SCM. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And always I need your support. And even though I finish my course, I like to join every year in your batch as a fresh student, because there's lot to be learned. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for teaching this, and I am really, really, really very happy that I am part of your SEM. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, it doesn't really matter if you're baking in a round tin or a square tin if you follow two things. The recipes that I've given, if you please... Okay, well, thank you for playing the video. I wasn't sure that it was going to get played. She makes me emotional every single time. So this was a testimonial she had shared during COVID times. She was a teacher, and many teachers had lost their job during the COVID times, and she was one of them. And she came for an online class, and from there, within 2 months, and she was so dedicated, and everything that I shared, she had followed. She and a couple of more students from the same batch, those were doing wonderfully well. They're so humble. You can see how, I mean, how they, they're like a family now. They're so cute, so nice, and so humble to you all the time that you feel like helping them out every single time. And within 2 months' time, she had, I think, baked 54, 55 cakes on order. And from there, it was never a looking back for her. So I got to know in the like a couple of years that she had problems in her family with her mother-in-law and mother, both of them being sick, both of them being hospitalized, and she lost her mother-in-law. All that had happened. But 2 days back, when she called me and she messaged me that, ma'am, it's really important. Please call me if you're free. So I saw her message and I called her back, and that is when I got to know that the studio that she had opened with a friend, she had to stop in between, and she is planning to start again, and she's now started supplying ITC and all that had happened. So I'm really happy for her. Now, this is just one example, and see, don't consider the online platform to be weak, because the way we teach, I don't know what others are doing, but our classes are really very, very detailed, because I don't believe in just doing a cursory kind of a class. And what I believe is, after the class, why our after class assistance is so powerful is because the group that will be added in are very, very important for you. Because see, in the class, you will be with me, you'll bake, you will check the recipes, you will see the videos, and everything is there. But when you are stuck, where do you go? Because I know there are mentors who don't reply and not take names. You cannot call them, you cannot message them. Even if you message them, there are no response. I know that is all that is happening. And we, since the day I launched my classes, and we are doing assistance, we are giving you a 1-year complete assistance through our WhatsApp group. So whatever you have, and I would request all of you to be with each other when the group is formed and you are added. And whenever somebody is stuck, please help if you know the answer. That is how I have, generated this system, this ecosystem that works with SEM. All right. Now, I told you this is not going to be a make along, and I'm not going to make and bake everything that is there in your course. If I do that, I will take a month's time, and it's not going to be a 5-day or a 10-day long boot camp. Okay. So I'll do whatever is necessary to show you all that. Every day I'm going to come, and we are going to have live interactions. Last, after the class, we're going to have Q&As. In between, we are going to have the recipe and techniques. Now, I've told you about the groups and everything given pre-recorded. I also have mentioned. And after the class, the recipe PDFs will be shared with you. If you have any problems, feel free to get in touch with our team, which is the office number you already have, right? And apart from that, please don't keep them pinging saying when we will get the recipes, when we will get the recording, because we have a system in place. Within 2 to 3 days time, we will start placing everything. We have to take your Gmail IDs, and please make sure, even if one of you share a wrong Gmail ID, the process has to be repeated for all of you. So when you share your Gmail IDs, please make sure that you check it twice, thrice. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with the recipes. So today I'm going to start with the basics of baking. Now, the recipe that I'm going to share are going to be egg-based. Egg-based, egg-free, not with eggs. I'm so sorry. Egg replacement that we are going to use and going to share in the class, and how you can make them really soft, how you can make them. बोलते हो ना आप लोग आके मैम बेकरी की तरह फ्लफी चाहिए, बेकरी की तरह फ्लफी चाहिए. So usually what people do, they add in a lot of cake gel, they add in a lot of preservatives to make it fluffy. So even if you make a 200 grams batter, you add in cake gel and it becomes light and airy. We don't do that, okay? So how can you make it light and airy, and how can you make your recipes? What troubleshoots you can do? How can you check that the cake is baked? How do you know that what to do, what went wrong with your recipe? You can do all of that all by yourself. Even after that, if you need my help, you have the group always open for you. Followed everyone? Clear? Yes? Give me a thumbs up if you are all ready. Okay, give me 1 minute's time, Niku. I'll just do the setup. Give me 1 minute.
में अगर प्रॉब्लम आती है तो we can ask you for
Of
that.
course, every day I can show you my groups. It's filled. I do not have time sometimes to check my personal messages, but I'm always active on my groups. My students can vouch for it. 24/7 assistance. अगर मैं भी नहीं हूँ, मेरे students भी वहाँ पे होते हैं. अच्छा श्वेता, आप बताना एक बार जरा. Not a biased opinion, your clear experience. I want to know.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
let me just tell you, मैंने श्वेता को कुछ भी bribe नहीं किया है. केक तो उसको खुद ही बनाना आता है, तो मैं केक भी bribe नहीं कर सकती उसको. So Shweta, how was it? I don't know if you are still in any of our class groups or your tenure is over.
No, ma'am. I am not in any class now, but the mentorship and the answer assistance is wonderful. मतलब मैंने बिगिनर कोर्स ज्वाइन किया था और छोटी छोटी चीजें जो पैथेटिक हो जाती हैं, अब मुझसे कोई पूछता है तो वो आपके लिए आपने इजीली सब कुछ गाइड किया. आई एम थैंकफुल, आई एम सो थैंकफुल. अब मुझसे कोई पूछता है कि ये कैसे शार्प एजेस लाने हैं, या मतलब मैम देखिए पेज ग्रो होता है तो कई सारे बेकर्स होते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
तो मतलब मैं भी सोचती हूँ कि ठीक है, वो छोटी छोटी चीजें मैं आज ये रियलाइज करती हूँ कि संगीता मैम इतने बिजी होने के बाद वो किस तरीके से हम लोग के ग्रुप, मतलब हम लोग के क्वेश्चंस को आंसर करती थी. आज तो मैं उस स्टेज में पहुंची भी नहीं हूँ मैम.
नहीं, थैंक यू श्वेता. आप ये बोल रहे हो ना, मेरे माइंड में कुछ और चल रहा है. मैं ये सोच रही हूँ कि जिस तरह से आप ये चीज नॉट एवरीबडी अंडरस्टैंड एंड फील, बट अगर आप ये चीज कंसिडर भी कर रहे हो ना, इट्स अ बिग विन फॉर मी. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि वो नर्चरिंग नहीं होती तो श्वेता नहीं कर पाते. सच्ची बोल रही हूँ श्वेता. It would have taken you way lot more time to grow the way you grow today. उसमें बहुत टाइम लगा बिकॉज छोटी छोटी क्वेरीज. See, taking in the class. Thank you very much, Shweta. Thank you.
I'm serious.
Sorry for bothering you time and again.
नहीं, इट्स ओके मैम. एक्चुअली क्या होता है, हम लोग क्लास ले लेते हैं, उसके बाद कोई असिस्टेंस नहीं मिलता. जब आप रियल टाइम में केक बनाते हो तब आपको पता चलता है
आपको असिस्टेंस चाहिए.
अच्छा ये मेरी क्रीम क्यों मेल्ट हो रही है, या फिर ये चीज फॉन्डेंट है. अगर मैंने आपसे फॉन्डेंट क्लास भी ली है तो अगर ये फॉन्डेंट है, ये क्यों नहीं स्टिक हो रहा है, या डिलीवरी के टाइम वो कैसे फिसल गया.
करेक्ट.
तो ये सब चीजें हमें रियल लाइफ में रियल टाइम में पता चलती है. और मैं बहुत ही प्राउडली आपको बता सकती हूँ मैम कि आपकी ही क्लास की वजह से आज मैं जहाँ हूँ वहाँ हूँ. आप
नहीं श्वेता, it's your hard work.
मैम सबको क्लास दे रही हूँ मैम. हार्ड वर्क होता है.
But there are some students who are really doing outstandingly well, जो अच्छे से फॉलो भी कर रहे हैं. दोनों चीजें
बायसली बताना, अपनी टेक्निक्स को बताना, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और सीरियसली आपसे ही सीखा है कि
देखो श्वेता, अगर मैं नहीं बताती आप ऐसे अच्छी बोल भी नहीं रहे होते ना, आप भी गालियां दे रहे होते यार कुछ नहीं बताते ना, लोगों के सामने बोलने के लिए बोलते अलग से. आज जो आपके दिल से आ रही है, क्यों आ रही है? I didn't know you are in the session, trust me. I don't know who all were in this group. मुझे नहीं पता चलता. तभी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि आप प्लीज कैमरा ऑन करो, मुझे पता चलता है. बिकॉज़ श्वेता नाम से तो हजारों लोग हो सकते हैं ना. I don't know who's in the group. I don't read your names कि कौन कौन आया है आज. बट जब मैंने अचानक से स्लाइड में हुई, saw you, I recognized how it's Shweta है. So that's why I told you कि हाँ, I can see all that. तो मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि क्लास के बाद जो असिस्टेंस है, we give you 1 year's assistance time. Because I personally feel क्लास तो आज हो गई होगा, ठीक है, लेकिन आज के बाद जब आप वापस जाओगे, go back home and start working with real time cakes, real cakes. That is when you sometimes get stuck and you need help. उस टाइम में कौन होता है? कोई नहीं होता. We are there. We are always there for our students. उस टाइम पे हम हमेशा रिप्लाई कर रहे होते हैं.
मैम जो कम्युनिटी, आई वांट टू ऐड समथिंग, जो हम लोग को कम्युनिटी प्रोवाइड होती है उस ग्रुप पे, मतलब जैसे आप इंटरेक्शन करवाते हो कि हाँ हम लोग एक दूसरे की हेल्प कर सकते हैं. मैम शंपा, दिव्या, मतलब आज हमने ग्रो कर लिया. आज भी हम लोग एक दूसरे से प्रॉब्लम पूछते हैं कि ये केक कैसे तुमने बनाया है, मैं इसमें क्या करूँ, रोज बात होती है मैम. तो वो एक एक मतलब कम्युनिटी आपने प्रोवाइड
और
कर
आप खुद सोचो, आप लोग कहाँ से आए थे? कोलकाता से। आप कहाँ पे हो? लखनऊ?
हम कानपुर कानपुर
कानपुर, यस। श्वेता, यू आर इन कानपुर, शंपा है कोलकाता, विद्या है
कोलकाता
हैदराबाद।
हैदराबाद
हमने ऑनलाइन क्लास ली थी,
हाँ
और एक जो ये बॉन्ड हो गया है आज कोविड जब स्टार्ट हुआ था तब से, वी आर स्टिल
यस
कनेक्टेड,
यस मैम
है ना? So when I tell you that it's a community, trust me, we are not here to fool, and इसीलिए शायद हम भी भगवान की दया से we are growing with all of you together. We are growing with our students.
एब्सोल्युटली
इसमें मुझे कोई डर नहीं है, कोई शेम नहीं है, कोई घबराहट नहीं कि अरे उसका बिजनेस ज्यादा तो क्या हुआ, हर कस्टमर्स will not come to me, my customers will not go to her. It's simple as that. There is a lot of scope. There is a lot of scope. You just need to jump and say yes to it.
यस मैम
Very good, very good. Thank you so much, Shweta. मिलते हैं हम लोग मीट में. Oh,
यस मैम श्योरली
that you missed actually. So Divya, Shampa, and all that, them they have come. So this time I want you to join. August में है, तो आ जाना सारे.
यस मैम श्योर श्योर
Yeah, okay. Your kid is also grown up. Hi everybody. Okay, so basically when we start with an egg-free recipe, few things that you have to note. Number one, we are not, like I said, we are not going to do condensed milk-based recipes, but instead we are doing curd-based recipes. Okay. So secondly, when we use when we bake any cake, we have to sift the dry ingredients. We know that. So today, the recipe that I'm going to share with you, all the recipes are going to be one bowl recipe, single bowl recipe. Now, why did I prefer using single bowl recipe is because if you ask me to make a recipe in which we have to take like 2-3 bowls, be it this, be it that, take that, mix them together, I will stop baking honestly. Because when I started off, I used to do all the baking. I used to do all the bartan also. From there, I have never changed or swapped my recipes. It's the same recipe that I'm following. Now, baking is just the A of your journey, cake baking journey, right? When we receive an order, baking a sponge is just the A of it. After that, you have to make your frostings, your toppers, your fillings, your presentation, your boxes, your labels, your stickers, everything. Deliveries. So this is just the A of it. Let's make it super simple. Now, we are going to work with all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is maida, right? I'm not talking about the measurements now because the recipe PDFs will be given to you. Okay? So just follow the steps that I'm doing. Why and how are you going to make it light and airy? Because there's a lot of customer demand कि ma'am हमें sponginess चाहिए cake में, fluffiness चाहिए, थोड़ा light होना चाहिए, all that you get, right? So for that, we have to use sugar, which is not granulated, which is icing sugar. What is icing sugar? Does anybody know what is icing sugar? Please type in the chat box. Do you know what icing sugar is? What is the difference between icing sugar and powdered sugar? Do you know the difference between icing sugar and powdered sugar? Yes, very good. So, icing powdered sugar. Now, powdered sugar is your regular sugar that you grind. Okay, so powdered sugar is your regular sugar that you grind in a mixer grinder. What is icing sugar? Icing sugar is a super fine sugar which has some amount of cornstarch in it. Okay, now when you add cornstarch to it, it's all industry. It's made in big factories because they need big grinders, heavy grinders, and there's a little cornstarch added to it. Corn flour and cornstarch is different. Corn flour is more yellow. Cornstarch is what we use regularly to make cornstarch slurry that you use in your Manchurian and koftas for the thickening agent. That's your cornstarch actually, and not corn flour. Okay. So icing sugar will always have, icing sugar is a super fine sugar which will have some amount of cornstarch added to it to make it very fine. There is no grittiness. And powdered sugar is your regular sugar grind that you grind in your mixer grinder or anything. Okay, followed everyone? Now, why do we use icing sugar in the recipe. What icing sugar will do is icing sugar is actually going to make your recipes light and airy. Okay, very, very fluffy sponges. So that's my key to making fluffy sponges, egg-free recipes. Okay, so when you have to really make it light and airy, we don't use any cake gels, we don't use any preservatives, we don't use any chemicals to it. Instead, I use icing sugar. Followed, everyone? So we'll go on to the recipe now. Now, I will also explain mother recipes. What is a mother recipe? Why do I talk about mother recipes? So the recipes that I have, there are two mother recipes. Please understand, all those who have already started taking the class and watching the videos, you must have heard me talk about mother recipes, right? So what are the mother recipes? So I have two mother recipes. One is my chocolate mother recipe. Another one is my vanilla based mother recipe. Now, mother recipes are a basic recipe which you make and then you convert them into different flavors. Now, anything that is chocolate based, like your chocolate truffle or black forest or chocolate hazelnut or cookie and cream or coffee walnuts will go with your chocolate mother recipe. But the other recipes, apart from the chocolate ones, will go with your vanilla mother recipe. Okay, I'll show you the variations. How with one recipe, quickly you can divide them into different flavors in just by adding a few things. All right, should we all start? Are we all ready? Ready, right? Quickly. Yes, no? Tomorrow, anybody? Okay, let's start. I'll give you a closer view of my bowls. Is it visible? Better? Visible? Yes, no? Or should I keep it here? Wonderful. Okay. So we start with all-purpose flour. You have the recipe measurements. We'll share the recipe measurements with in the group. The PDFs will be shared with you. Okay. So we start with all-purpose flour. Please make sure that everything is sifted, and also make sure that you don't have to sift it 2 times, 3 times, 5 times. Some of the YouTube videos will tell you that you need to. Some of the YouTube videos will tell you that you need to sift them 5 times. Sifting them 5 times will not make any difference to it. It's just a gimmick. Okay. If you sift it once, it's good to go. Now, this is your all-purpose flour. In goes. Please note that everything is sifted here. Okay. Then I have my icing sugar. See how powdered it looks? So please buy the store-bought one. They're going to give you a very good result. Okay. Now add in the icing sugar. Then we have the baking powder. And we have the baking soda. Now, at this stage, you have to give it a nice mix, because please understand why. Like I said, you have to understand the why of it. So when you have the dry ingredients in the bowl, if you don't mix it well, then you will have to mix it once you pour your wet ingredients. And we don't want to overmix our batter once we pour in the wet ingredients, because the more you mix, the gluten of the all-purpose flour will get activated, resulting in your sponge, which is going to be too chewy, dense, and not very fluffy. Followed, everyone, or should I repeat? You can use whatever you want. You want to use a whisk, use a whisk. You want to, do we have a whisk here? You want to use a spoon, use a spoon. You want to use a spatula, use a spatula. Just give it a good mix so that the entire thing is really mixed well. Zoom the camera. Can you bring it closer? Better? This is all white now. Okay. Oh, Visible? Okay. So now this is all-purpose flour, icing sugar, baking powder, and baking soda. Everything is sifted. Followed, everyone? Now you give it a good mix. Now, please, I hope everybody is all ears now because I'm going to share a few very important things. Number one, when you take the dry ingredients in the bowl, you have to give it a good mix so that everything becomes one unit and is incorporated well, so that you can avoid over mixing of your batter. If you over mix your batter is going to be very, very dense, not light and airy, very stretchy. Okay, that's why the egg-free recipe that I'm sharing with you, please do not over mix the batter. One more thing that you have to note here is that the liquids that I'm going to pour in here, you don't keep pouring one liquid at a time and keep mixing it. If you do so, this is going to turn into a dough and not a batter. We are not making breads, we are making sponges, right? Don't call it a bread. Bread will have yeast. Some of you call the sponges as breads. Breads will always have yeast. This doesn't have yeast, so it is called a sponge. Now, when we make sponge, we make batter and not a dough. So, if you keep on adding, suppose we have to add curd now, then we have to add oil, then we have to add water, then we have a little milk. So if I keep on adding one ingredient at a time and keep mixing it, what will happen? It will form into a dough because the entire liquid that is here, when added, will give you a batter, right? तो आप इनमें से अगर एक या दो चीज डाल के मिलाना स्टार्ट करोगे, it is going to become a dough, and to break that dough, you have to overmix it again. Followed, everyone? Yes, no, quickly. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to pour in the liquids one by one, and please make sure that your liquids are at room temperature. So the curd, I'm not using homemade curd, I'm using store-bought ones. It's not possible for me कि घर पे दही बनाऊं और इतने सारे sponges की baking करूं because we bake a lot of sponges every day. Now you can buy store-bought curd. If it's kept in the refrigerator, please make sure to bring it out and thaw it a little. Bring down to room temperature, okay? Oil. Why are we using oil? Now there is a story to it also. So when I started off by okay, I'll come to that later. So why oil? You can make using butter also. Once I finish the recipe, please remind me, I'm going to share that. Now I'm going to add in one by one. So let's add in the curd. No hung curd, please. It's just the regular curd that you get in the market. Okay, now in goes the oil. Any refined oil which doesn't have a distinctive flavor. Please do not use olive oil because olive oil has a very, very unique flavor which is going to make the sponge smell of olive oil even if you add in any flavor essence to it. Okay, so no olive oil. Then we have water, plain water, lukewarm or room temperature. Both works fine. Next, we have milk. I prefer using full fat milk, no toned milk, okay? Because we need the fat of the milk. Now, all that goes in. Do you see? Very, very easy because I'm explaining it to you. It's taking so much time. When you do it, there are only 4 dry ingredients and I've added 4 wet ingredients to it. And now give it a mix. We do a cut and fold. This is the fold and this is the cut. Fold and cut. When you cut, keep your spatula straight. Don't keep it flat. Okay. Now, I am not going to over mix this. There are lumps that's visible and scrape it from the bottom, please. See, when you scrape it from the bottom, there are lumps that's there underneath. So these are very, very minute details that you need to keep in mind. Now, I am not going to over mix this because see, you can see lumps in there. Can you? Do you see the texture? But I am not going to mix it now because this is the vanilla mother recipe. Everybody, your attention here, please. This is the vanilla mother recipe. I have not added any color to it. I have not added any flavor to it. Followed everyone? So this is actually your vanilla mother recipe. Now, how much is the vanilla mother recipe? Okay, so this one recipe gives you 4 5-inch tins. This is a 5-inch tin, which is going to give you a half kg cake. So this recipe will be divided into 4. Okay, so I have a scale here. Can you see the kitchen scale? Take a kitchen scale and take a bowl. Now the numbers that you see, we have to tear it. Once we tear it, it becomes 0. Is it 0 on screen? It's 0, right? So now whatever I pour, I need heavy pasta, very heavy. So when you pour it, you will get the actual weight of the batter. Following everyone? Are you following or not? Why I am weighing this is because I want to divide it in 4. So I don't want to do it with eye estimation. So dividing always works. Sure. This is 1249. If we divide 1249 by 4, how much do we get? Around 300 grams, 310 grams. Okay, so that is what we are going to measure here in 4 different bowls. Clear everyone? समझ में आया यहाँ तक? Did everybody follow? Easy? Now, we will take. Okay, maybe. $318. कितना आया था? 312? 310 करते हैं. 8. ठीक है, 8 is fine. Okay, fine, perfect. Divide करके दे दो मुझे बाकी. All right, so this is one portion of it. We need 4 portions. So when we divide, what happens is we get 4 different parts. Okay, so this one vanilla recipe is good to give you 4 half kg cakes. Followed everyone? You can keep a note of it. Okay, that's better. So we got 2. Now, when we have 4 different recipes, suppose you have an order of 4 half kg cakes. So you make one mother recipe, you divide them in 4 different bowls, and then you add one essence and color to it, and it becomes your 1 half kg cake. Sponge. Okay. So we are going to add color to it. Suppose we are going to make this into a pineapple cake. What are we going to add? Yellow color and pineapple essence. Okay. Suppose we are going to make this vanilla into a fresh fruit cake. So you can either add any color of your choice, or you can keep it blank, and the essence is going to be vanilla essence. All right. This is the 3rd one. And the 4th. Followed? Now, in these 4, we have to make 4 different cakes. So I'm going to make one into a pineapple cake. Another one is going to be a fresh fruit cake. Another one is going to be a vanilla cake. And the 4th one is going to be a banana loaf. Okay? So, essence of this, a mash cream. Now for the banana loaf, we need 2 ripe bananas. So take ripe bananas and take a separate bowl. If it's a like these small size bananas, you can take 2. If you have big size bananas, you can take 1. Suit your taste. Okay. Now you take a bowl. Side में रखते हैं क्या Now take any bowl, peel the bananas. Done. Open. Always keep a wet hand towel and a dry hand towel handy. That is what I prefer doing. Okay, that really helps. Now, use a fork, and mash the banana. We don't want to blend the banana because we don't want it to be completely pulpy. You want the chunks to be there. That's how it's the best consistency of banana that can go into your banana loaf or banana bread, whatever you call it. So this should be the consistency of your banana. You can mash it a little more. हल्का सा mash कर. Now, this we are making into the banana loaf. So we want to, when we make a banana loaf, we don't add banana essence to it. Otherwise, it's going to be too pungent. Okay. Instead, what we do is we add vanilla essence to it. So I'm using the bush. I also prefer using Osoro vanilla a lot. So when you're measuring, keep it away from your batter. Otherwise, it's going to get into your batter. And in the banana loaf, see, this is how it should be mashed. Okay? Don't blend it in your mixer grinder or a blender. Full goes in. I prefer adding few drops of yellow color also. See, I'm using color splash colors. See, now when you check my videos now, all those who have got the recording of the video, some of you might have got the videos that I've recorded years back. So you will know that I'm still using the same recipes. And ma'am, jhoot nahi bolte. Okay? So when you go back, you will see that the same recipes, same colors that I've used in the recipes. So I am so fond of the recipes that till date we are using the same recipes. Now I'm using only 2 to 3 drops of the color here. Just that. So that everything is mixed well. Now you don't need to add, you don't need to use a beater or anything. It's done. See, it's mixed well. Don't over mix your batter. Okay? Followed everyone? Keep aside. Now we head on to the second recipe. Now this we are going to make into a pineapple cake. So I prefer using pineapple Mauritius. This is Osoro is one of my most favorite brands to use. Okay, so if you talk about flavors, have I ever spoken about flavors before? Not with your batch, right? So whenever I talk about flavors, Osoro is my go-to brand. Okay, I have full 2 boxes of Osoro essence with me. Try their pineapple Mauritius, try their any brand, try their any flavor. So this is my go-to. It takes only a few drops, a few drizzle of the essence that you want to use. And then there's something from the towel, I think. Okay. So for using the pineapple cake, I'm using pineapple Mauritius. Can you see this? Is it visible to you? Now? Pineapple Mauritius from Osoro. Okay. So I prefer, it's only a few drizzles that you require. You can use a spoon, but in case you're using a spoon to measure out the essence, please take half the quantity that's been shared in the recipe. And then we have again yellow color for pineapple. And then mix it. That's why, because now at this point, I have to do a mixing again. That's the reason I did not mix the mother recipe a lot. Followed everyone? Because I showed you that there were a few lumps in the mother recipe then, right? But if I would have broken those lumps, I wouldn't have room now to like mix the batter now. So this is good to go. Okay, see. So this will be poured into another 5-inch tin. Then we have vanilla. So when we do basic vanilla, you can actually use vanilla essence and keep it plain. Let's make it fresh fruit first. So we're making it into fresh fruit. So for fresh fruit, again vanilla essence will go. And in my fresh fruit, I prefer adding a little pink color. I mean, it's especially for SCM. So we add a little pink color. Whenever you want to add color to your batter, has to be liquid or candy color, okay? Don't use powder colors or gel colors, no. So a little bit of, just to give it some color, some pop of color that looks beautiful when cut through. Looks nice, right? Now the last one. Okay, one more thing. Let me just pour this. Last one, what should I make? Let me make it into a plain vanilla cake. You also get a lot of plain vanilla cake orders, right? So when you want to make a plain vanilla cake, you can keep it white and you can add in only essence. Now, suppose you have to make a coconut cake, you can keep it white and add in coconut essence. So creamy coconut from Osoro is also very good if you want to try. So I'm not adding any color to it. This is going to be plain white. Now, how do you line your cake tins? Can anybody tell me how do you prefer lining your cake tins? Do you use cake tin sprays? Do you use parchment paper? Do you use what? Parchment paper. Okay. So I don't prefer using any parchment paper. What we do is we take butter. This is chilled butter from the refrigerator and coat it. As I help you with the. So you take chilled butter. Now everybody. So when you have to line your tins, I would prefer that you take chilled butter from the refrigerator and you coat coat it, because when you coat with chilled butter, you will get a layer that is visible to your eyes. Please do not use oil or butter which is melted, because that will act a very thin, that will give a very thin layer to your cake. Instead, take chilled butter, which will give you this. Can you see the white? You can see where it has been coated and where it has not been, right? It's visible. Now take all-purpose flour and इसके अंदर dust करना है. So take a little, like maybe 2 spoons, and just run through all around it. Get rid of the excess. Okay, that's all you need to coat a beautiful tin. And from this, when you take out your cakes, they come out like baby bumps. आप निकालो, 2 मिनट के लिए ठंडा करो, just flip it and the cakes turn over. सीधा कर दोस्तों, और पीछे कर सकते हैं. थोड़ा सा पीछे करो, टेबल के नीचे, otherwise they won't move. इधर करो, सीधा कर. पीछे पीछे, सीधा कर पीछे. यहाँ bus visible. Thank you. Now we have 4 tins lined, okay, and we have all the cakes ready. Now we are just going to pour them into the tins. Then keep tapping them also in between so that all the air bubbles are out. Easiest way of doing your assorted cake orders. Now, I have seen so many of you have different recipes for your vanilla cakes, for your butterscotch cakes, for your mango cakes, for your strawberry cakes. So if you do that, if you spend so much time only making the sponge, when are you going to do the rest of it? Right? So don't spend too much time with the sponge. Having said that, please make beautiful sponges. I'm not asking you not to make good sponges, because that's the base of what you do. But don't spend too much, don't waste too much time only making the sponges. You have to simplify your work, because when you start, initially it's only one man army, right? You have to do everything. Now the fourth. So when we talk about vanilla, when we talk about banana loaf or banana bread, you can add in a lot of chopped walnuts to it. Now, if you don't want to add walnuts, some people might be allergic to the walnuts, then you can add in chocolate chips also. This is Bakersville, from Bakersville. And let me just tell you, nobody is a sponsor of my class. I'm just sharing whatever brand I am using. Feel free to use it from anywhere you loft it. Let's put a name. It's on that. So I'm putting in the banana loaf in the loaf tin. Okay. Now this is going to go get baked at 150 degrees. Don't use 180 degrees. 180 degrees initially, people used to start baking, but nowadays I see that the thermostats are too high. So start baking at 150 degrees. Now you also have to know your oven well. Okay. Know your oven right, because every oven works differently. I have 3 ovens, but they work completely different from each other. The temperature works differently. Now, when your oven is old, or there are multiple multiple reasons why the oven works differently. So you have to know the oven temperature correct and then start with 150 degrees. But first, you have to preheat the oven for 10 minutes. Okay. Once the 10-minute time is over, put it for 40-45 minutes. Keep an eye. Please bake with the bottom rod on and on the middle rack. All right. Now, when you keep it always in the middle rack and with the bottom rod on, and bake it for 40-45 minutes, and in between you have to keep checking with the skewer. But please aisa mat karna that you have just now kept the batter in the oven and in 10 minutes you start opening. So when you keep opening the chamber again and again, see, you have to understand it's a small chamber in which we are actually artificially making it into a heat chamber, right? So once you open the door, the heat escapes, and now your cakes become dense, and now your cake, the cake was rising beautifully, it will sink. So all that will happen. So you have to keep an eye on the sponge. Do not open the door until you see that the center of the cake doesn't look wobbly anymore, and you get a very good aroma of the baked goodie. Only then understand that you need to open and check. So I'm using a loaf tin for the banana. Now also I'm going to have a lot of choco chips on it. Okay. This to take it off. Beat here and we'll go. Now that was all about the sponges. Do we have any questions from the sponges that you did not understand, or any brand that you want to see before we clear up? My oven is in the dry room. It won't be possible for me to take you to the dry room. Write down the settings. Please write down the settings. We are baking at 150 degrees. In the middle rack, first we are preheating the oven for 10 minutes at 150 degrees. For preheating, you can use both the rods. If you're using a Murphy dish at 52 liters or 60 liters. For preheating, you can use both the rods. If you're using a Murphy dish at 52 liters or 60 liters. Now, once the preheat is over for 10 minutes, please don't forget to switch on the rods. You have to use a bottom rod, 150 degrees in the middle rack. Okay. Choco chip brand is from Bakersfield, I told you. Color brand is Color Splash. It's mentioned in the recorded session already. Brand of essence is Osoro, Ossoro. Can you write down, type it, Nupur? No, please use bottom rod. Madhushmita, when I'm saying bottom rod, why are you asking both rod? फिर तो आप brand में भी पूछ सकते हो ना कि मैम essence फिर इसका use करो, उसका use करो, उसका use करो. See, whichever I'm using gives me the best of result. Now, baking is all about science. जब मैं बोल रही हूँ bottom rod, तो stick to bottom rod. Why ask unnecessary questions? Do we have to mix corn flour or cornstarch with icing sugar? No, you don't have to. You don't have to add anything to icing sugar. Icing sugar comes as it is. Added cornstarch in it. Okay, you don't have to add anything to it. Just measure it out like you measure maida, all-purpose flour, and then use it. If you do not have oven, you can still make in a cooker or kadhai. In that case, in that case, you have to take a kadhai, and at the bottom you add some salt to it. Salt will act as preheating agent. Then keep a stand, and on the stand, preheat for 10 minutes first, and on the stand you keep your tin, cover the lid, and with medium-low heat, bake it for 35-40 minutes. It gives a beautiful result. Please do not bake using microwaves. Microwaves are not scientifically built for baking. So you get a better result in cooker or kadhai than your microwaves. Okay. If you don't have an OTG, you can bake in a cooker or kadhai, but not. So for the colors, we put baker's fillet. For the color splash colors. For choco chips, उसी में लिखते चले जाओ ना. Enter करो. या चला जाएगा. Okay. Now write down for flavor. Osoro, VOU1. Did you? And what else did they ask? Choco chips is also because we. Yes, thank you very much, Punya. So about the oil and the butter. Now, when I started off with the recipes, I started off by making the same recipe in butter. But I take a lot of feedback from my customers, and those were initial days. And like I told you, I'm a self-taught so far. So it's not a good thing though. It's always good to have a mentor who can tell you from day one what is right, what is wrong, what you should do, what you should not do. That ways you don't waste your material, and neither do you waste your time. So I had to do a lot of experiments, a lot of my own things, and I wasted a lot of stuff to perfect the recipes and all that. It's good to have a mentor handy. Now, about the butter and oil. So when I used to bake, I made the same recipe with butter. So I used to take the same quantity melted butter and I made the recipe. Now, when I gave it to my customer, he wanted a birthday cake. It was a 1 kg cake, but there were only 2 or 3 people at home. So he gave me a very good feedback that, ma'am, the cake was really nice, but when we were trying to eat it, we could not finish it at one go. We kept it in the refrigerator, but next day when we took it out, it was hard and the cream was soft. Now, because the sponge had butter, when it goes into the refrigerator, of course, it will firm up, right? It will become hard. But when we sell a customized or a cream cake, they will not be able to microwave it, isn't it, to make it soft. That's the reason I have replaced butter with oil. So whenever the cake is half eaten or you want to keep it inside the refrigerator, eat it the next day, whenever you take it out, it's going to be soft with the cream. All right. Now, when you want to make tea cakes using the same recipes, feel free to make the tea cakes using only butter and not oil. Understood, Punya? Yeah. Yamna, why curd is added and not condensed milk? I've already mentioned in the starting of the class. You will get the recording of the class. You can go back to it. Tin size of banana tin, it's actually 7 inches by 3 inches. You can take a smaller tin. I don't have a smaller tin, so I've taken this. This is going to be a bigger tin size, but you can take, say, a 6 inch by 3 inch. So I don't use both oil and butter in the cake. I either use butter or oil. Yes, when you have a 52 liter and above, you should keep the fan mode on in the oven. Thank you, Neha. Yes, for tea cakes, please use butter. That will give a very rich taste to it. Now, tea cakes, we don't frost, right? So, in the tea cakes, if we add butter and in 2-3 days time, if the customer wants to keep it in the refrigerator, they can take it out and reheat it because it doesn't have cream, it doesn't have frosting, it doesn't have a filling. So, tea cakes can be made using butter, should be made using butter rather, and not your sponges. Why? I have told you already. Okay, Sarika, so I said if you have an oven which is 52 liters and above, which means the temper is bigger, you will have an option of the fan mode. Now, when you have the option of a fan mode, you switch on the fan mode so that the heat is circulated in the entire chamber. Okay? Now, let's go on to the next recipe. Now, I'll tell you, for half kg cakes, please use 5 inch tins. Okay. So if you want to make a 1 kg cake, you can use 2 5-inch because nowadays we make a lot of tall cakes, right? So if you want to make tall cakes, you can use 2 5-inch cakes, one on top of the other. If you want to make a flat cake, then you use double the recipe, as in the 4-part we have two parts, which is half the recipe. Okay, that way you divide. So start making the recipes and you can post all these questions in the group. Okay, now we head on to our chocolate cake recipe, chocolate cake mother recipe. Using this recipe, you can actually make chocolate cakes, chocolate truffle cakes, coffee cakes, then your black forest cakes. Black forest cake has a chocolate sponge, whipped cream filling, frosting, and chocolate shards and cherries, right? So we are going to make the chocolate sponge now. So chocolate sponge has a little prep unlike the vanilla sponge. Now in the vanilla sponge, what did we do? We took a bowl, we put everything, all the dry ingredients in, we mixed it really well, and we kept pouring the wet ingredients. So that once the wet ingredients are inside, then we can cut and fold, and then we divided the batter into 4 equal parts to get 4 different sponges, half kg each. Now the banana loaf is not going to be half kg because banana loaf doesn't have frosting, right? With filling and frosting, the sponge is going to yield you a half kg cake. Followed everyone? Now talking about the chocolate sponge. In the chocolate sponge recipe, you will see that there is chocolate, there is oil. Now, of course, there will be chocolate in the chocolate sponge recipe, so you have to do a prep. You have to melt it. Now, to melt it, if we melt chocolate directly, it's going to come and get firm up again, because chocolate once comes in contact with something which is cool environment will firm up, and that's why to prevent that we add fat to it. What is the fat that we are using? Like I've already told you, you can add butter, but why we are not using butter and oil, that also you know now, right? So we are going to add oil to it. I will explain again, okay? इसको नीचे करो ताकि दिखे. Visible, everyone? So I have taken chocolate and oil and give it a mix, and now you need to melt it. You can melt it. I prefer melting it using a microwave. So you will take 30 seconds pulse at a time. ठीक है? एक बारी में 1 minute, 2 minutes के लिए नहीं लगाना है. You can keep it for 30 seconds, and then I'll show you what happens to it. Mix method. $18 seconds, 15 seconds. See that. Seconds. Now see, when you have a 30-second pulse, this is how it's going to look. You can see that the chocolate is still looking chunky, and you think that it's not melted, and you put in again in the microwave to melt. But actually, when you stir it, can you see that half of it has already melted? Now, when it's summers, because my AC is on and it's kind of winters now started, so it's still a little piece of chunk here and there that you see. If it was summers, it gets melted very, very easily. Okay. We will take 30 seconds pulse again. So please do not take 1 minute pulse at a time. Take 30 seconds pulse. And then when you see that, see, and a few chunks left. So we are going to take 30 seconds again. Now the chocolate that I'm using here is compound, of course. You can use couverture also. Couverture is going to increase the budget, increase the price of your cake. Compound is going to keep it in like budget, but then you should have both the options for your customers, and you should tell them that this is compound and this is couverture, and also the difference between them. So couverture is basically pure chocolate and compound is not. Couverture is from the cocoa beans of nature and compound is oil derivatives. There is no comparison, okay? Couverture chocolates are healthy, compound chocolates are super unhealthy. So let your clients know and then let them decide. Now, again, we are going to start with, this is also more slow. Or slow kaise karungi? What didn't you understand? And please rename yourself so that I know who you are. Oppo CPH2325 मैंने morning में ही आपको बोल दिया था. आप please rename करिए आपको अपने आप को. Sana, can you please rename yourself? Your phone number is showing the, I won't. Yes, Sana. Chocolate, right? So I'm using a compound chocolate today, not couverture, because otherwise it's going to be, you can use couverture also, same way. The same process is going to be the same. It's going to be chocolate measured and then pour in oil into it, melt it with 30-second pulse at a time, and then keep it aside while you make the batter. ठीक है साक्षी, तो ये चॉकलेट और ऑयल हमारी मेल्ट हो गई है. आई ट्राई एंड ऑल्सो स्पीक इन हिंदी. नाउ सी दिस इज कंप्लीटली बिकम अ होमोजेनस मिक्सचर. अच्छे से मेल्ट हो जानी चाहिए. देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी चंक. ठीक है, तो चॉकलेट और ऑयल को आप पहले ही मेल्ट करके साइड में रख दो. उसके बाद आप बैटर बनाना स्टार्ट करो. दिस इज डार्क चॉकलेट. Now, so we start with all-purpose flour again. नीचे था ना. That's it. And then we have icing sugar. Now, one ingredient that we need to sift here is cocoa powder. Okay? If you do not sift your cocoa powder, it's going to make your batter super lumpy. So don't avoid this step. Please sift your cocoa powder. You need to sift all the dry ingredients, but you cannot keep cocoa powder sifted. आप cocoa powder को दोबारा sift करें. अगर sift करके रखा हुआ है तो make sure everything is sifted well and measured. Now we have baking soda. And we have baking powder. Also, what I prefer adding in this recipe is, because it's a chocolate cake recipe, I also prefer adding a little bit of salt. Chocolate cakes are always enhanced with a little bit of salt in it. Okay, so adding a little bit of salt. So these are the dry ingredients. मैंने dry ingredient में क्या क्या डाला? मैदा, icing sugar, baking powder, baking soda, cocoa powder, and salt. All right. इतना समझ आया? Packets of what? Sarita, packets of what? Oh, couverture chocolate and compound. Okay, I'll show you. लेके आना इसके बाद. Excuse me. Now give it a mix. So this, you can see that it should be mixed really well, like the vanilla batter. These, everything in detail, in slow process is there recorded in the session. And this recording you are going to get. This same recording you are going to get, okay? So that you are in line with what we are doing today in the class. You will get all the recordings. So you can go back to it again and again. And if you feel that there is something that's been missed, we can discuss that out in the class. That doesn't happen, I'm just sharing. Now see, everything is mixed well. All right. Now we have to pour in our wet ingredients. So we'll start with the chocolate mixture. That's why we had to do this prep, because we are going to start with this. Then our Now the milk. And then mix. Now you will see that chocolate cakes always have a lot of air bubbles because of the cocoa powder that we add in it, okay? That's why it's advisable to use a beater for your chocolate cakes at least. Now we are also going to divide this again. Because from this mother recipe, from the chocolate mother recipe, we are going to have two half kg cakes. Okay. So one can go as Black Forest, another one we can keep as chocolate sponge. So we are again going to divide the batter. Zero हुआ क्या? Wait. Clear करना? So first thing is to measure out your batter, which is very, very important, okay? If you want to divide it equally. So having a kitchen scale is also very important for you guys. Please have a kitchen scale. Scrape it really well. You don't want to waste even a spoon or a scoop because it's all measured. How much is it? 804. So 400 each. $400. Before that, there is this rising agent. What is it? Lemon juice. So we want to add in lemon juice here and we want to mix it. Okay. But you don't have to weigh it again. So when you add lemon juice, do you see the reaction? Lemon juice is actually reacting with your soda. Now, when you mix it with a whisk and you see that there are no lumps, you can avoid using a beater. But if you see that there are lumps, then you can use a beater. Now, we will divide it into two. So you're taking a different bowl. Now, why are we dividing it separately? Is because with the same chocolate sponge, with the same chocolate sponge recipe, we can make, with the mother recipe, we are making two. थोड़ा पीछे करो, मुझे बैटर नहीं दिख रहा हमको. पीछे करो सीधा करके. इसी लाइन पे सीधा ले लो पीछे. बस, nice, thank you. एक और बोल भी दे दो, नहीं चाहिए जरूरत नहीं. Essence दे दो. Now, please understand, with the vanilla recipe, we made 4 variations of recipes. With the same chocolate recipe, chocolate mother recipe, now I have not added any essence to it. I have only added the dry ingredients, the wet ingredients, and the rising agent. Okay? Dry ingredients में हमने मैदा, icing sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and cocoa powder डाल दिया. Wet ingredients में what did we add? We added milk. And we also added the chocolate mixture, right? The chocolate and oil mixture. So we have added that. And the rising agent, which is the lemon juice, we have added to it. Now, I'm going to add vanilla essence in one. This is the same vanilla essence that I used. And Black forest essence in another. तो ये दो अलग अलग है. एक पे vanilla essence डाला मैंने. Visible नहीं है, थोड़ा नीचे करो. In my screen it's visible. It's not visible for them, I think. Is it visible now? Okay. So in this we have added vanilla essence. In this we are going to add black forest essence. Again, drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Mix करो, fruit करो. दोनों tin में pour. In the meantime, let me explain. So we are again going to pour them into 2 tins lined, and we are going to bake it with the same temperature that I have mentioned. Okay. Now here we have the chocolate slabs. So this is called a compound. I'm using vanillin today. This is the dark compound, and this is the quart. 46.5%. All right. So these are the 2 different brands that I'm using. In compound, you can use Mode, you can use Vanillin, you can use 2M, you can use Chocoville. Mode is the most sasta compound and it's not that nice, honestly. So minimum you can use is Vanillin, you can use Chocoville, you can use all that. And for couverture, Van Houten is very, very good. You can also use Caliboo, but Caliboo is super expensive. So I know it will not fit your customer's budget. So you can avoid that. All right. Angela is saying, ma'am, you didn't add curd like how you added in vanilla. Angela, where are you from? May I know, please? Goa. So do you have one recipe for Goan fish and for curries? Do we add same ingredient in all the recipes that we make? So they are all different, Angela, depending on what ingredients we are adding in which recipe. It's actually different. So what we can do is wait, I'm just reading the questions. It's going very fast. Yes. Okay. Yamna has a very valid question. Ma'am, why don't we use chocolate essence in chocolate cake and use vanilla essence? Now, chocolate and vanilla is a match made in heaven. If you want, you can use a truffle essence also. But my preference is for chocolate cake to use vanilla essence because it's a very good combination, chocolate and vanilla. Okay. Yes. Instead of, Neha is asking, ma'am, instead of lemon juice, can we add vinegar? Of course, you can. You can keep a bottle of vinegar handy. And you can. So these are the tins of our chocolate cakes. And you need to tap them really well to get rid of all the bubbles that's there before you start baking them. Okay, in the meantime, do we have any questions? Tin size and weight I've already shared. If someone wants premium chocolate, go for couverture. Couverture is the premium most. Anything else that you missed out from here in the class? Now, this is how easily you can actually divide the batters, and this is how easily you can minimize your work when you get customized orders. The temperatures remain the same for the vanilla and the chocolate cakes. The temperature, settings, and everything remains the same, okay? Black forest cake base is going to be chocolate cake, I told you. Yes, chocolate weight in, no, not 200, it's 400 grams. Total was 800, it's 400 grams. I prefer using either Hershey's or Cadbury cocoa powder. Sakshi, I will not share an ingredient for half kg cake. Because the recipe that I'm going to give you, if you want to make it double, you can make it double. If you want to make it half, you can make it half. If you want to make it 1/4, you can also make it 1/4. So that's your homework. Dark cocoa powder. Yes, any cocoa powder. Oh, one more. If you want a Dutch processed cocoa powder that recently I've discovered is Osono's cocoa powder. Just try that for a premium feel in your face. So their Dutch processed cocoa powder is amazing. Okay, I think we're done with the questions. And we take a break. What is the time now? It's 12 o'clock. So we take a break for 40 minutes and then we can come back for the question answers and I can show you the sponges also. Does that work? Yes. So meanwhile, the sponges will also get baked. You can see how they look. Okay. 40-45 minutes. I'll see you at it's 12:05. So I'll see you at 1 o'clock. Meanwhile, you can have your lunch and everything done. What's it? Ritika, choco chips will not sink because choco chips are very light. Now, if you had to add walnuts, I would prefer that you toss them in a little all-purpose flour. मैदे में थोड़ा सा toss करके फिर आप walnuts, something which is heavy, like walnuts. They might sink if you don't toss them in a little all-purpose flour. Choco chips are very, very light, so they don't generally sink, okay? All right, so I will see you at 1 p.m. Meanwhile, finish with your work and we'll come and take live Q&As and I'll also show you how the cakes look. All right, see you then. And you can log out now, but feel free to log in, or if you feel that it might be a problem for you to log out, stay put because we are also keeping it on. All right, see you at 1 p.m. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Are you all back? Okay, so the sponges have been baked. They are still hot. I can feel the heat from here. Now we need to demold them. I was just wanting to show you quickly how to demold. So please, with my sponges, do not wait until they come to normal temperature. Otherwise, there will be condensation in the sponge and it will be difficult for you to demold them because they will stick to the base, okay? So, see, this is how they come out. I told you, you don't have to do anything. Wow, the aroma. And this is how exactly they come out. See, you don't have to pat, you don't have to tap, nothing. If you line it properly, they really come out beautifully. See, clean. Let's make some space. Oh, they're so supple. Got it. Now, the last. Banana loaf हुआ था नहीं begin. So we were actually waiting. We did not put all the vanilla and banana together. We were waiting for these two, and we put 5 of them together in the oven. And now the banana loaf is gone for baking. And if you see it closely, can I get a closer view? Nupur, एक बार सामने लाना. थोड़ा नीचे. Next से नीचे तो. Okay, so if you see a closer view of the sponges, do you see how soft they are? It's still very, very hot. I don't want to poke them much. Okay, it's very bouncy. It's very hot. Okay, so see, each one of them are super bouncy. And look at the height also. Very clean, all egg-free. Nobody can make out that these are egg-free recipes. So try baking them. And let's have the Q&A meanwhile. Now, if we have any questions from today's session, we can take them one by one. Do we have any questions from today's session? You need to raise your hands, please, so that we go to you one by one, and then we can take the questions. You need to raise your hands. बनाना लोग हो जाएगा तो दिखाते हैं ठीक है हाँ इनको थोड़ा हटाओ तो बहुत गर्म हीट आ रही है पे ठंडा कर Now, once your sponges are baked, let me just tell you one more thing. So they look really beautiful. Height बहुत अच्छी आती है. Sponginess is superb. Now, once you bake them, I would always advise that you bake it 1 day prior and keep the resting time. मतलब जब आपके sponge बन जाए, please allow them to come to normal room temperature. Then cling wrap them. Cling wrap them gently. Don't squeeze them too much, okay? Otherwise, the shape will change. It's super, super soft. Now, cling wrap and keep it in the refrigerator for overnight before you start frosting your cake. Do not tot your cakes immediately. Totting matlab slicing the cake in 2 halves, okay? If you try to tot the cakes immediately, you will break your sponges. They are that soft. So the resting time in the refrigerator is mandatory. Do not start frosting your cakes because the cakes are warm and the whipped cream or buttercream, whatever you're using, is going to be super, super chilled. So the frosting will melt in the cake. That's why you need that resting time. Followed, everyone? Okay. So we start with Sarika. Please unmute, Sarika.
Ma'am, I just want to ask, will there be any difference between both chocolates that we use in that sponge?
In taste.
Yes.
In taste.
Okay. So it will.
So Kuvacha chocolate is definitely going to be more tastier than your compound.
The oil quantity would be same for both?
Everything will be same.
And second one, like if you get some urgent order, what is the minimum resting time before cutting the sponge?
Very good question. So if you get an urgent order, what we do is allow it to come down to room temperature with a fan or AC on. Jaldi se thanda ho jata hai. And then cling wrap and keep it in the deep freezer for 10 minutes.
Okay.
But keep an eye. ऐसे नहीं कि freezer में रख के भूल गए, Big Boss देखने चले गए, आज का दिन wind up कर लिया. Don't do that. So I don't suggest you keep your sponges in the freezer. But when it's an urgent order, only then for 10-15 minutes until the sponge is superbly chilled.
Ma'am, I want to share something.
Yes,
I had gone through your fondant videos, and आपका वो 3 घंटे का video देखने के बाद, I made first figurine of topper. You want to see that?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen and showing
Yeah, please.
I'm not able to share my screen.
Can my team help? Or if you have the topper handy, can you show it to us?
No, actually that has been gone.
Okay, okay.
It's disabled.
Wait, we're just trying to figure out.
Yeah, I'm
Share now?
able to share, yeah. Yeah, let me show you. See.
Wow. Very good, Sarika. So this is your very first fondant figurine
Yes, ma'am.
that you made by seeing the online video, right?
Yes, online video.
Very
and,
good, Sarika. Very good. Well done.
और जो
One
अभी
thing I want to correct here, because see, being a teacher, I can't, but I have to tell you where you go wrong. So the eyes that you have made, you just put some highlights on it. Just
Yes,
that.
yes.
ठीक है? Highlight आपने miss कर दिया. Otherwise, for the first
थोड़ा सा,
topper, it's actually very good.
थोड़ा सा highlight है उस पे, मैंने थोड़ा सा दिया था, बहुत rare सा.
एक जेल कलर के साथ ना थोड़ा सा जो ब्लैक पोर्शन आपने बनाया उसमें 2 डॉट्स लगाना and it will look as if it's looking at you.
और
So,
ये जो न्यूज़पेपर है ना, वो भी बहुत टाइनी सा मैंने
very nice. I can
डाल
see that.
के,
That's
हाँ,
I've
और
seen
ये
that.
and
A
for the
phone in
first
his hand.
हाँ, और फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने ये टॉपर्स भी पीछे के जो है ना वो टाइलोस के कारण उनको खड़ा कर पाई, तो ये वेडिंग क्लास में जो सीखा और आपका ट्यूटोरियल देखा
Wow.
और सबको बहुत पसंद आया कि बहुत हैंड्स देखो आप, और आपने उसमें बड़ा अच्छा बताया था राइट और लेफ्ट हैंड का, तो वो सब चीजें ईयर्स एंड ऑल सबको बहुत पसंद आया, बहुत माइन्यूट डिटेल्स का मैंने ध्यान रखा है इसमें.
Very good, Sarika. I can see all of that. आपने बहुत करेक्टली बोला कि राइट हैंड लेफ्ट हैंड हाथ को बनाना कैसे है, मैंने बहुत डिटेल में बताया. Good that, but in the wedding cake class, we have not done any figurines. ये
Yes,
online class में हमने बहुत, and आपने जो वो toppers पीछे खड़े किए हैं, like thin toppers, but how you made them stand, see, everything has worked out beautifully for you. Good. So this is what happens when you actually listen to every step that I say, and I'm so happy that you followed everything. कितना सुंदर बना है, first time के लिए बहुत अच्छा, and you can like really do wonders. लगे रहो इस पे सारिका, you have it in you.
Thank you,
Good
ma'am.
job, well done. So happy.
Thank you.
Okay, next question is Punya. Then we'll go to Ritika. Yes, Punya.
हेलो
Hello.
आज की क्लास के बेसिस पे ही पूछना है क्वेश्चन कि थोड़ा सा कुछ और भी पूछ सकते हो क्योंकि मैंने ऑनलाइन वीडियोस देखी हुई हैं पहले.
नहीं, वो सब जाएगा आपके
Okay.
ग्रुप में. आज की क्लास में कुछ भी है जो आपको नहीं समझ आया, अदरवाइज ना बाकियों के लिए कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा.
गॉट इट. मुझे बस ये पूछना है कि राउंड और स्क्वायर टिन के लिए अगर हमने मेजरमेंट्स करने हो तो इट विल बी डिफरेंट और सेम.
नहीं, if you have to go for 4 inch or 6 inch or 5 inch, it's going to be same. But the bigger you go, you can take square tins a little, one size less.
ओके ओके ठीक है. और एक और क्वेश्चन था पर ठीक है वो वाला नेक्स्ट क्लास में पूछूंगी बिकॉज वो आज की क्लास के लिए नहीं है.
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, because we don't want to confuse the
या
others.
आई अंडरस्टैंड.
Okay, Punya, all the best and बनाते रहो.
हाँ जी, थैंक यू.
Okay, next is Ritika.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, ma'am, when I bake my cake, it doesn't get baked from the center. It is like, and if I keep for more time, then the outer circumference, it hardens up.
Yes.
So when I take it out, it is like it drying in the natural air, matlab uncovered, and then it hardens up. Like the cake is not that soft when it comes out.
Okay, so Ritika, my first question is, are you talking about my recipe?
No, identical to that which I
Okay,
bake.
no, I'm just asking so that I
No,
understand. I can
not
help you
completely
better.
yours.
You have not started baking mine. Number 2, which oven do you bake in an OTG or
No, ma'am, on cooker.
cooker?
In cooker
So,
or
so what happens is, what is the heat that you prefer keeping?
little higher than the lower flame,
Keep low.
between
Keep
low
low.
to medium.
This happens, I'll tell you why. So you have to understand. See, suppose this is your tin, okay, and the heat is coming from the sides, top, and everywhere. Now, what is happening is your cooker is, or even if it's happening in OTGs, please understand, you have a higher temperature than required. So, because this is an aluminum tin or a metal tin, the side of the batter is in contact with your metal. So the side of the batter is getting baked faster than the center of the batter. Okay? Because it's in contact with the metal. Now the temperature is high. So the entire cake is baked, but the center is still uncooked, right? So when you reduce the temperature, there will be even baking and the center will be baked.
Okay.
So you need to reduce the temperature. Even if it's happening with your OTG cakes, please reduce the temperature a little. I'm telling you a standard measurement, standard degree is 150 degrees. So if you feel that in your OTG, you are not getting the perfectly baked sponges, click a picture and share it in the group so that I know if it's underbaked or overbaked. As per the picture, I'll be able to share the reviews. Share the solution to it.
Right, ma'am.
For you,
for
you, Ritika, please lower the temperature.
Okay, ma'am. Right. And ma'am, like we have to wrap the sponges in cling foil.
Cling wrap.
Cling wrap. Then it should be how many hours in general? Like today, if I bake, then for
overnight you can keep maybe 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours maximum.
Okay.
So
like
that it's
then for that,
completely chilled
baking
and
has to be.
firm. Yeah, sorry.
For that, baking has to be done at night.
You can do it in the afternoon. You can do it in the afternoon. Keep it overnight.
And then work in next morning.
Yeah.
Or
maybe you do it today morning and you work it on tomorrow. Minimum is at least 6 to 8 hours.
Right.
So the sponge forms up really well. When you start baking these sponges, you will see they are like baby bumps. If there are
Okay.
mothers, they would know what I'm talking about. I'm a mom, that's the best reference I could give. So it is
Yes,
that soft. So now, when they are, this is super soft, you don't want it to break. So to keep it in the refrigerator, it will firm up for at least 6 to 8 hours. It will give you more control over the sponge to work on.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the cake you have baked is on the wire rack right now.
Yes, cooling rack
Not-
it is. No. I baked it in the black rack. This is a cooling rack.
Yes,
So I
right, ma'am.
kept it to cool.
Yes, it is cooling. It is not covered from any side. It is uncovered. है ना? So it will not harden up.
No,
Okay.
it will not.
Okay.
And the
Right.
beauty of these sponges is that you must be seeing in many recipes on YouTube that they take a big cake, they trim off the top, they trim off the sides, and then they use the center part of the cake. That is because the recipes that they use or the baking is so hard that the sides and the top is becoming very hard. The beauty of our sponges is you use it 100%. You don't have to trim it from any side. Because
Okay.
otherwise, as home bakers, if we need a 5-inch cake, every time we have to bake a 6-inch cake and trim that off from all the sides. That's not economical for us, right?
Right.
So you bake it and you will fall in love with the recipe.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
Most welcome, Ritika. Next, we have Yashika. Yashika ke baad we'll go to Shilpa.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Yashika.
Actually, I have a question. Actually, I'm completely new in the baking
No
this thing.
problem. This is the class
So
designed
I
for the
have like very
newbies.
little question, very stupid questions as well. But first, I want to ask, what is the difference between the normal cake and the Black Forest cake?
Normal cake as in, what do you refer to
Like
as a normal
normal
cake?
chocolate cake, which you
Okay.
showed us.
So,
That one.
so this
And
we are going to cater to in the class tomorrow in detail when we frost the cakes. So why did we make the sponges today? Because I also need the resting time for my sponges, right? So these sponges are going to cool down and they're going to go into the refrigerator. Okay. Now tomorrow the sponges are going to be chilled so that I can frost on them. Now when I'm going to fill and frost the cake tomorrow, I'm going to talk about all this in detail. But because you asked, so the difference is in a chocolate cake, the sponge is chocolate sponge with vanilla essence and the filling and frosting is chocolate ganache and not whipped cream. Okay. Now in the Black Forest cake, the sponge is a chocolate sponge, but the flavor or the essence that we use is what? What did we use?
Black Forest. Black
Forest,
Forest,
because we are making a Black Forest chocolate.
Yes,
Black
okay,
Forest cake, right? So the essence is Black Forest again. Now, when you fill and frost, the Black Forest has a composition where it is a chocolate Black Forest cake with filling and frosting with whipped cream and cherries.
Okay.
It doesn't
So
have
only
ganache. The
okay,
filling
so only
frosting
the
is not
difference
ganache.
is the essence, that right?
Essence in the sponge and filling and
Yes.
frosting.
Okay, okay. And
Lot of difference. It's a cream
Okay.
based. The Black Forest is a cream based cake.
Yes,
It's
yes,
lighter.
yes.
And
Yes,
the chocolate
yes.
cake is going to be heavier and very
Heavier,
rich in
yeah.
taste.
ओके 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 एंड मैम जो आपने जब बेक करने के लिए रखा तो वो जो ब्लैक ट्रे पे रखा था तो वही हम उसी तरीके से हम बेक कर सकते हैं केक को
हाँ, मैं तो उसी
ब्लैक
पे
ट्रे
बेक
पे
करती हूँ ब्लैक ट्रे पे रख के आई डोंट कीप द ट्रे इनसाइड आई कीप द ट्रे आउटसाइड कीप ऑल माय स्पंजेस ऑन इट आई प्री हीट द oven and with the tray I put it in.
ओके एंड बॉटम रॉड ऑन करके ना
Bottom rod on. See, bottom
Okay.
rod on. Why? Because if the heat is coming from the bottom, it will help the cake to rise, right? Because the heat is from the bottom. Now, if the heat is from bottom and top, the pressure is from both the sides, so the cake will not rise properly.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
some of you might have an oven setting which says bake mode. So if it is an inbuilt setting which says a bake mode, and which when you do the bake mode, both the rods are on. Don't break your oven. Say nahi bottom rod pe bake karna hai, to dono ki rod on ho rahe, because that's the setting for your oven. It's inbuilt. So don't stress out. Just use the bake mode. For the rest of it, if you have that manual settings, please use the bottom rod on.
Bottom rod on with fan, right?
If you have a 52 liter and above, then you will have a fan option. If something which is under it won't have a fan option. So when you have the fan option, keep the fan on.
Okay. Okay. And can we use that जो हम लोग वो बनाते हैं ना चीज केक वाला जो पैन होता है
tin.
So then that
That's called
can
a
we can
spring
use for
foam.
this?
It's called a spring foam tin, जिसमें से
Mhm.
spring होता है. So why
हाँ.
I don't suggest using that is because it has a black coating, right?
Hmm.
So that carbonated coating, what it does is anything which is black. जब हम black t-shirt पहन के धूप में निकलते हैं क्या होता है? It attracts, absorbs a lot of heat, right? So I would suggest please do not use those utensils for your baking because it will absorb a lot of heat from the oven and it will harden the sides of your cake. These are Sasta Sundar Tikau. Works best.
नहीं मैम, इसी के अंदर में एक वो वाला भी आता है जो आप चीज केक में आपने सजेस्ट किया था, which will go
Spring foam tin.
yeah, that
हाँ
one.
नहीं, उसको use नहीं करना है.
उसको यूज नहीं करना है. Okay, only this we can use for this.
Because see, in cheesecake the batter is very thick, but in
Yes.
this the batter is runny. It will ooze out from the tin.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome. Next we have Shilpa, sorry. Yes, Shilpa. Unmute, please.
हेलो शेफ, गुड आफ्टरनून.
Good afternoon, Shilpa.
शेफ मेरे को ये पूछना था, जब भी मैं केक बेक करती हूँ तो ऊपर से क्रैक्स क्यों आते हैं?
Okay. बस अच्छा, क्रैक्स इसलिए आते हैं क्योंकि वही प्रॉब्लम है, आपकी हीट ज्यादा है. Now what happens is, do you know the mechanism of volcano?
हाँ.
साइड से प्रेशर बहुत ज्यादा होता है तो ऊपर फूट जाता है.
ओके.
It's the same thing because your heat is more. So reduce the temperature, then you will have even baking.
शेफ एक्चुअली मेरा है ना क्रोमा ब्रांड का ओटीजी है 48 लीटर्स. तो
Chroma is good.
या तो मेरे को आई थिंक 150 पे भी रख रही हूँ, बट आई एम क्या बोलते बोथ रॉड्स में ऑन कर रही हूँ.
नहीं, आप bottom rod on करोगे. And all those who have these trouble that you are trying to troubleshoot and going to bake again, I would suggest please start with a 5-inch tin first. Make 1/4 the recipe or make half the recipe. Okay. So when you make half the recipe, you get 2 of these tins. First, bake at the settings that I have mentioned, 150 degrees, bottom rod, middle rack, right? Now, once you feel that your result is absolutely fab, you can bake the next cake in the same. Do not put in both the cake tins together. Okay. Now, if you feel that at 150 it's still cracking or underbaked, then you can ask me in the group, ma'am, which setting to work next. Now, I will tell you whether to increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. ठीक है, समझ आया सबको? So don't start with all the recipes together and you make blunder and then everything, like the entire batch is gone for a toss.
ओके, तो फिर जैसे आपने बताया कि 150 डिग्री पे ही रखना है और बॉटम रॉड ही ऑन करना, फैन भी ऑन रहना चाहिए. ओके, तो प्री हीटिंग के लिए बोथ रॉड शुड बी ऑन. ओके, और ऑयल बेस्ड एसेंस अपन यूज कर सकते हैं ना शेफ?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
मतलब उसका जो फ्लेवर हाई रहता है तो हमको थोड़ा यूज करना
कम
चाहिए.
रखना.
या और जैसे अभी आपने चॉकलेट स्पॉन्ज का जो बैटर बनाया वो 800 समथिंग आया था, आपने हाफ में डिवाइड
804 ऐसा कुछ आया था.
या तो
हाँ.
अभी आपने 400 ग्राम्स, तो वो कितने केजीस में मतलब बना है अभी?
Now see, the chocolate cake, weight I will talk about tomorrow again when we do the Black Forest cake. See, it depends on the frosting also you do. Suppose I take both the chocolate sponges. One I frost in whipped cream to make Black Forest cake. Another one I frost in ganache. Both of their weight will be completely different. So this 5 kg will 5-inch will give you, in Black Forest it will give you a half kg. In chocolate ganache it will give you a 1 kg.
Okay, because
Because
chocolate
ganache is a
be
very heavy
heavier.
frosting.
Yeah. Okay, chef. Thank you so much, chef.
Most welcome. Most welcome, Shilpa. Next we have Aditi.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Aditi. Sorry, I missed out your voice.
Hope you are doing good.
I'm good. How are you?
All well. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, I just wanted to ask about the sponge that once it is made, like one day before, then we have to keep it in the fridge. So we'll cling wrap it. Like once we take out from the OTG, we have to cool it down completely.
Completely. To room
Before
temperature.
cling wrap.
To room temperature, yes.
Okay, like 2-3 hours will be good enough.
You can touch and see if your AC is on and if it cools down in half an hour, 1 hour.
Okay. So actually,
Just
I'm
touch
very
and see that it comes down. That's okay. Just touch and see that it is completely cooled down to room temperature. Otherwise, what happens is there will be condensation in the cling wrap, which will make your cake super mushy and the texture will go for a haywire.
Okay. Okay. And one more thing, I'm confused in the tin sizes actually. Like in the vanilla sponge today,
See,
which we
don't think about the tin sizes right away. मैं जितना आपको बता रही हूँ ना कि half inch के लिए 5 inch, start with this. Take one step at a time. Go slow. Because otherwise you'll be completely confused. Okay. So for now, remember that if you have to make a plain half kg cake, it will be your 5 inch tin. If you have to make a 1 kg cake, take 2 half inch, like tall cake. So go with this. अभी के लिए इतना ध्यान में रखो. Gradually I'll keep sharing all the tin sizes.
Sure. So the recipe you have given today, which you have made in the class, the vanilla sponge. So like this will give 5 inch in 5 inch tin, it will give half
Yes,
kg.
that's what we have baked. Half kg.
Okay, that's it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Remember that. Because if I give you, see, you are a complete beginner. So if I overload you with a lot of information, you will go for a loss. So start baking. We will try, and I've already told my team as soon as possible. It needs a little processing time. It's not from us, it's from the processing. So we need to process it, and then we have to upload, and then we have to add all of you to be able to share the videos. These are all private videos, right? So that needs 2 to 3 days time. We'll try as soon as possible. हम रख के क्या करेंगे? हम आपको देंगे तो आपके लिए भी अच्छा, हमारे लिए भी. So we'll try and do that ASAP. And we'll also try to open the group as soon as possible, because once we open the group, see, there will be a lot of confusion. So we want to give away the recipes and give away the videos first to you so that the confusions are minimized. Unnecessary confusion, आपके लिए भी बुरा है, हमारे लिए भी बुरा है. So we will do everything systematic. Just trust the process a little. Give us 2-3 days time. Okay?
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Yamuna.
Hello, Chef. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm also good.
Where are
my
you from?
question is, I'm from Gujarat, Surat.
Okay, is it cold there?
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so my question is that does it make any difference between like using black tray or draw tray while baking the cake?
Does it make any difference between using what?
The black tray that you use and that tray with rods, the steel rods.
Yes, see, so it's not called that's a baking tray. The black tray that is there, it's called a baking tray. And this is called a cooling rack. Okay. So why are they named separately? Baking tray is for keeping your tins and everything, and you start baking it. Now, if you use the cooling rack to bake, so what happens is, because it has all the gaps in there, it will give you more heat. And when you take out your cakes, where will you keep them to cool?
Okay, so it
So
can
you need the
result
cooling
in
tray outside,
overheating.
right?
Yes.
So that's why you bake in the baking tray, which is the black tray, and then you keep the cooling rack outside, so that once your cakes are out, you have to demold them on the cooling rack so that air can travel, right? There is movement of air and it cools down easily.
Okay, and another question. When I bake my cake, I check it with toothpick and it comes out clean. But when I take it out and cool it down, so after cooling it down, I can like clearly see visibly that it is still undercooked.
Okay. So which means you can see the lumps and all that sticking, right? Have you tried mine?
Yes.
Are you talking about this recipe or something else?
No, something else. Like I saw it on
So
YouTube.
can we give it a try, and then you can share it in the group, maybe the picture?
Okay.
Okay. So try this recipe and the settings that I've told you. And then if you still feel any problem or you're stuck somewhere, please, it's a request to all of you, not just who I'm talking to. Please click a picture, because we are all online on the medium. So I need to see what the problem actually is. Sometimes what happens is you're not being able to explain. So I don't know what the real problem is. The closer I have a look, I will be able to give you a better solution and a fast solution for you. So give it a try. We'll share the recipes ASAP, and then let me know if you still face the problem.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Next is Sana. Sana is waiting since long. Then we go to Krunali. Sana, unmute kariye.
Yes,
Sana is raising her hands in the chat. That's why we are not able to see. Everybody else is raising their hand in the video. Huh, Sana? Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
हाँ जी बोलिए.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
मैम ये मुझे पूछना था, ये जो आपने जो स्पॉन्ज बताया क्लिंग रैप करना है हमको,
हाँ.
अगर जैसे हमको अगर 2-3 days बिफोर भी हम क्या उसको बेक करके क्लिंग रैप करके रख सकते
15 days तक आप सना इसको बेक करके क्लिंग रैप करके रख सकते हैं. It will stay as fresh.
ओके मैम.
So it actually goes till 20-25 days, but I will not mention 20-25 days because most of you are just beginners and you don't have a separate setup for your bakery, right? So you are using the same home kitchen. Now, when you're using the same home kitchen, you are using the same refrigerator. Now, the refrigerator in the home kitchen opens frequently.
Yes,
So
yes.
because we have separate, like I have two different refrigerators in the studio. So we in the ones in which we keep the sponges, we don't open it very frequently. But we don't pre-bake anything. We only bake on order. For you, you can bake it at least 10-15 days prior, chill them, keep them cling wrapped in the refrigerator, not in the deep freezer.
ओके मैम.
Okay.
वन मोर इज दैट के मतलब इसका मैम मार्केटिंग मतलब उसका अगर प्राइसिंग लेवल पे अपने को जाना है तो वो कैसे
हाँ.
करना होगा?
प्राइसिंग की सेशन आप सबको दे दी जाएगी. आपको अपना सब कुछ का कॉस्टिंग. सी इफ आई स्टार्ट टेलिंग यू कि आप ना एक ब्लैक फॉरेस्ट केक 1000 रुपए में बेचना, देन आई बी रॉन्ग. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑल फर्स्ट आर फ्रॉम डिफरेंट स्टेट्स, डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ इंडिया एंड अब्रॉड. नाउ वन मोर थिंग, सपोज ऑल ऑफ अस आर फ्रॉम दिल्ली. Even if you are from Delhi, I'm from South Delhi, someone might be from West Delhi, someone might be from East Delhi, someone might be from different parts of Delhi. Now, everybody's costing is different because you might be buying something in bulk, I might be buying something in retail. Now, I have my overheads also. मेरे staff की salaries है, मेरे studio का किसी का rent हो सकता है, किसी का अपना हो सकता है. So that's why all of us need to take out costing. Costing की session आप सबको दे दी जाएगी. आप costing की session देखेंगे and उसके बाद अपनी Excel sheet बनाएंगे उसमें जैसे मैंने mention किया है. ठीक है? If your maths is not good, my maths is not very good. Because these are fractions in which we had to calculate everything. So I made my husband sit with me. So एक जो भी अपने घर में भाई है, बहन है, husband है, बेटा है, जिसकी मैथ्स आपसे बेटर है, उसको प्लीज 2 दिन के लिए भाड़े पे ले ले और उसको बोले मैं केक खिलाऊंगी, मेरे साथ बैठ जा 2 दिन.
यस, मेरा कैलकुलेशन मेरे हस्बैंड ही करते हैं.
हाँ, normal calculations are fine, but when you start calculating in fractions, you must see tiny things. From your atta, maida, suji, whatever, not suji, whatever we are using here, from baking powder, baking soda, from your sprinkles.
Yes.
Your sprinkles, your everything, your AC, your light, your water supply, everything has to be calculated, including your labels, your price tags, your knives, candles, everything has to be taken in account. That's why the first thing is, please master the recipes. Side by side, you have to also take out your budgeting. Now, when a customer comes to me and asks me, ma'am, I need a cake. So a few questions that I ask them is, what is the size of the cake, the weight of the cake? Number 2 is, what is the flavor of the cake? Number 3 is, what is the theme of the cake? Now understand, suppose somebody is asking for a blueberry cake with cocomelon theme, right? With the entire family of JJ on the cocomelon cake and a blueberry cake, lemon blueberry cake. And somebody else is asking for a vanilla cake with a cocomelon theme but just the JJ topper. The pricing will be here and here. Right? So we have to every time calculate the price and then give it out to the customer. Follow everyone? So pricing is something that I'm not going to tell you कि 1200 रुपए में, 2000 रुपए में, 4000 रुपए में, 200 रुपए में बेच दो. No. Then I will be completely wrong. So let's do our exercise. We have to find out the budgeting. Okay, Sana?
मैम मुझे एक पिक्चर सेंड करना है. मुझे भी रिसेंट एक ऑर्डर था. अगर आप बोलो तो सेंड करूंगी.
नहीं, वो आप ग्रुप पे करोगे. ऑर्डर के बारे में डिस्कशन हम ग्रुप पे करेंगे.
ओके मैम. और क्वेश्चन ये था मैम. हाँ, ओके, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. मुझे ये क्वेश्चन था मैम, जो रेगुलर शुगर और स्क्रैच जो आपने यूज किया है स्पॉन्ज में, आइसिंग शुगर एंड दैट, उसमें आपने कहा है कि आइसिंग शुगर क्या होती है? कॉर्न स्टार्च होता है उसमें.
हाँ.
तो अगर इफ वी वांट टू प्रिपेयर इट एट होम, अगर आप खुद से अगर ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि रेगुलर शुगर पीसी हुई हम अलग,
कॉर्न स्टार्च में रेगुलर शुगर को पीस के सिर्फ आप कॉर्न स्टार्च डाल दोगे तो वो आइसिंग शुगर नहीं बनती. वो मशीन में इसलिए चाहिए बिकॉज मशीन बहुत हेवी ड्यूटी मशीन होते हैं, तो उसका जो पाउडर होता है ना वो बहुत ही फाइन होता है. बैटर के लिए तो आप फिर भी यूज कर सकते हो, बट फ्रॉस्टिंग के लिए या बटर क्रीम के लिए आप यूज नहीं कर पाओगे. बैटर के लिए आप फिर भी कर सकते हो.
वही बैटर के लिए मैं पूछ रही हूँ.
तो बैटर के लिए आप ये करो, घर की पिसी हुई चीनी यूज करो, जितना मैंने मेजरमेंट बोला है उतना, और उस चीनी में से उस चीनी में से 2 से 3 टेबलस्पून रिप्लेस करो कॉर्न स्टार्च के साथ।
ओके ओके, हाँ यही पूछना था मैम। और
ठीक
जो
है?
कर्ड है, ओके थैंक यू मैम।
हाँ,
और कर्ड
इसको
जो
आपको
है
मिक्स
मैम
करने
आप
की जरूरत नहीं है सना। आप जब बैटर में डाल रहे हो ना अपना, उसी
देन ओनली
टाइम
वी
पे
विल
आप मेजरमेंट में से 3 टेबलस्पून चीनी कम रखिए, वो 3 टेबलस्पून आप कॉर्न स्टार्च डाल दीजिए।
ओके ओके। और
ठीक
मैम
है?
आपका ये मेथड मुझे बहुत पसंद आया, हम ट्राई करते हैं कैसे मतलब ये होता है कि वेट इंग्रेडिएंट को पहले हमको पूरा मिक्स अलग रखना होता है, देन 1 बोल मिक्स आपने बताया ना, तो वो कैसे इजी हो गया है तो उसको प्रिपेयर करना, इट लाइक जस्ट
हाँ,
प्रीमिक्स।
मतलब
हाँ
मेरा जो यूज भी हो गया तो मुझे बोल एक ही धोना है भाई।
यस मैम, वो
Because we
बहुत
have to be
ज्यादा है।
practical. See, beginning, starting में सबने सब कुछ किया है. I have done everything. So that's why I know जितना minimize कर सके. Now, the amount of work that we do, you must have seen our page, right? So the amount of work we do, अगर हम sponge में ही पूरा दिन निकालते तो बाकी का काम कब होगा? कब तक जाके हम डिलीवर करेंगे ऑर्डर? कब तक हम ब्यूटीफुल केक्स बनाएंगे? कब तक शुगर फ्लावर्स बनाएंगे? कब हैंड पेंटिंग करेंगे? कब उस पे गनाश का काम करेंगे? कब उस पे टॉपर्स बनाएंगे? अगर हम सिर्फ स्पंज में ही पूरा दिन निकाल देंगे तो दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल, एंड यू विल
बट
नॉट
मैम
फील लाइक बेकिंग इफ यू टेक आउट सो मेनी। इतना बर्तन निकलेगा तो किसी को मन नहीं करेगा।
मैम यहाँ कस्टमर्स है ना, हमारे यहाँ क्लाइंट पे करने नहीं बोलते, कभी कैसे स्क्रैच का मेथड हम यूज करते भी हैं अगर, तो यहाँ पे क्लाइंट्स पे नहीं करते, हमको उतना इवन फुल डिजाइन है तो
हाँ, तो लास्ट सेशन from Sana's question, clients are not ready to pay. Do you want to learn how to make your customers pay? How many of you want to learn how to
yes
make your
ma'am, of
customers pay?
course.
Everybody? Okay. So let's do one thing. Last session जो हमारी boot camp का होगा, let me do a marketing session with you free.
Okay ma'am, thank you.
ठीक है? That we will do live. Let's do that.
मैम वेट ये पूछना था एक
हाँ.
और जो जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आपने जो मदर रेसिपी लिया है और दैट वेनिला एंड चॉकलेट, तो मदर रेसिपी उसका अगर पोर्शन ऑफ ½ kg वी हैव टू टेक ½ kg, तो उसका जो भी पोर्शन आपने लिया है एवरीथिंग का वी हैव टू टेक हाफ ना?
नहीं, मैंने क्या बोला सना, मदर रेसिपी जो वनीला है उसमें 4 केक्स बनते हैं ½ किलो का।
यस यस यस।
तो अगर आपको एक ½ किलो का बनाना है तो कितना मेजरमेंट लेना होगा गाइस?
उसका 1/4 लेना होगा ना?
1/4 द रेसिपी।
यस, वही पूछ रहे हैं 1/4।
सिंपल मैथ्स।
एंड हाफ लेना एंड देन हाफ तो वी हैव टू टेक हाफ पोर्शन।
ये ध्यान रखना बस। इसीलिए that's why I told you in this way that 1 full batter will give you 4 ½ kgs. So it becomes easy for you to understand, ना?
यस यस, वेरी
All
इजी,
right?
वेरी इजी। एंड वेनिला का फैब ब्रांड का जो हम एसेंस यूज कर रहे हैं तो वो मतलब बहुत हाई, मतलब हाईली वो एसेंस उसका जो है हाई एसेंस है थोड़ा, तो वो चलेगा मैम फैब ब्रांड का?
देखो, अगर आपको वो पसंद है तो आप यूज करो। मेरे कस्टमर को फैब फ्लेवर्स का ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं लगता बिकॉज वो थोड़े से, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट,
कड़वापन आता है
दवाइयों वाली स्मेल आती है। तो दैट्स व्हाई आई पर्सनली प्रेफर यूजिंग वनीला के लिए बुश, एंड या आई यूज मेडागास्कर वनीला फ्रॉम your Osoro. I use a lot of Osoro flavors, which goes really well with my bakes. It uplifts your baking game. एक बार ट्राई करके देखो, आपको पता चलेगा कितना डिफरेंस है। बिकॉज इन द मार्केट वॉट एवर इज अवेलेबल, आई हैव यूज्ड एवरीथिंग टिल डेट. So this is what I felt was the best that I'm using nowadays, and I'm sharing with all of you.
ओके मैम। मैम मुझे एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन,
देखो, कोई भी ब्रांड मेरे को पैसे नहीं देता और किसी भी ब्रांड के साथ मैं सिंगल हैंडेड काम नहीं करती। मी एज अ मेंटर, आई ऑलवेज पिक एंड चूज फ्रॉम डिफरेंट ब्रांड, जिसका जो अच्छा है मैं उसका वो लेके यूज करती हूँ।
ओके मैम।
हाँ जी सना, क्या लास्ट क्वेश्चन है?
मैम ये आपने जो वेट किया, मतलब अभी आपने 4 टाइप्स ऑफ स्पॉन्जेस बनाए आपने, तो उसमें आपने वेट किया है, जैसे कि एक स्पॉन्ज अभी हमने जब अब तक देखा है रेसिपीज में ऐसा बताते हैं कि फौरन उसको बेक, मतलब इंग्रेडिएंट को मतलब डायरेक्ट मिलाओ उसको और डायरेक्ट उसको ओवन में डालो, मतलब टाइम, बेकिंग पाउडर, बेकिंग सोडा, ये सब कैसे ज्यादा राइस इसको एक्टिवेट हो जाता है।
अच्छा,
तो
इसमें
आपने
सना मैं एक बात समझ गई ना आपकी क्वेश्चन। आपने और मैं हमने थोड़ा रफ के किया। नाउ आई टेल यू एन इंस्टेंस दैट हैपेंड। सो आई एम फॉरगेटिंग हर नेम। क्या नाम था मेरी स्टूडेंट का? I forgot her name. So I'll just tell you her name जब मुझे याद आता है तो। She was an online student and she was just after COVID, I think. So she asked me one day, मैम, जैसे ग्रुप हमारी बनती है, आपकी भी ग्रुप बनेगी, तो ग्रुप में उसने एक बार पूछा कि मैम मैंने ना वनीला बैटर रेडी कर लिया है, बट देयर इज एन इमरजेंसी एट माय प्लेस एंड आई हैव टू गो, व्हाट कैन आई डू विद द बैटर? व्हाट कैन आई डू विद द बैटर? होता है ना कभी की लाइट चली गई, बेक नहीं कर पा रहे, या इमरजेंसी कुछ आ गया घर में कि हमने बैटर बना दिया बट बैटर अभी हम बेक नहीं कर पा रहे। तो मैंने उनको बोला कि आप एक काम करो, क्लिंग रैप द बैटर and keep it in the refrigerator. When you come back in the evening, take it out from the refrigerator, allow it to come down to room temperature. Room temperature पे पहले बैटर को लाना है, उसके बाद oven में bake कर लेना. Because if you directly take it out from the refrigerator and in the oven, तो temperature का difference बहुत ज़्यादा है, baking नहीं होगी, कच्चा रह जाएगा. So that was that day. She went. And after a few days, उसके बाद उसने मुझे कुछ बताया नहीं. After a few days, there was another girl who asked the same question in the group कि मैम मैंने ना बैटर बना लिया, लेकिन मेरे को बच्चे के साथ तुरंत निकलना है, कोई प्रॉब्लम थी क्या था, तो मैं अभी बना नहीं पाऊंगी. तो मैं अपने क्लास में थी, मैंने रिप्लाई नहीं किया था. So I saw that girl, she came in rescue and she said that मैम ने मुझे ये solution दिया था और उन्होंने उस बैटर को 9 दिन बाद बनाया था. So she said, I have never done this. I have never experimented like this. But she had done it. I'm really forgetting her name. Her name was Saima.
You made that reel also.
Saima Siddiqui. Her name is Saima Siddiqui. So Saima was the one who told in the group that ma'am had told me to keep it in the refrigerator and then come and bake it. So she said that she had an emergency. तो वहां किसी की डेथ हो गई थी, तो वो 9 दिन तक वापस नहीं आ पाए थे. जब वो वापस आए, उन्होंने बेक किया, बोला मैम जितना सॉफ्ट सप्पल होता है उतना ही था. उन्होंने रेफ्रिजरेटर से निकाल के उसको नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर पे डाला, नॉर्मल टेम्परेचर आने के लिए वेट किया. एंड फिर नाउ रिसेंटली, बिकॉज आई रिमेम्बर्ड साइमा, सो आई मेड अ रील. So we had a batter which was live. Yes, we purposely made that reel. मैंने देखी को बोला कि एक काम करो, हमारे जो बैटर बचा है ना, उसको फ्रिज में रख दो. And I think we baked it after 6-7 days, and it came out so fluffy. Just give it a try.
यस मैम, ये कंफ्यूजन अक्सर कैसा होता है ना मैम, इसीलिए हम क्या करते हैं, अभी कस्टमर अर्जेंट है और कभी कैसा होता है बेबीज है, बच्चे हैं या फिर कुछ इमरजेंसी हो जाती है, तो हमको ये बहुत लेकिन मैंने अब तक ये देखा था बेकिंग में, आपकी रील देखने के बाद मुझे थोड़ा लगा, बट अभी तक जितने लोगों को फॉलो किया है या देखा है कुछ वीडियो से, तो वो यही बताते हैं कि फौरन तुरंत रख दो, नहीं तो अच्छा रिजल्ट नहीं आता है.
वो झमेला भी नहीं है. अब now I'll tell you one thing, don't do it purposely. Only if there is an emergency, you can try this. It works beautifully. But ऐसा नहीं करना है ना कि बैटर बना के रख दिया फिर तो कमर्शियल बेकरी वाला काम हो गया. ये चीज नहीं करनी है. अगर आपके इमरजेंसी है तो आप ये बैटर यूज कर सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. लेकिन अगर आपके पास टाइम है तो आप स्पंज बना के 15 दिन का टाइम है आपके पास, 15 डेज पहले भी आप स्पंज बना के रख सकते हो, वो एकदम फ्रेश रहेगी. ठीक है.
और मैम टीन का जो भी क्वेरीज रहेगी वो आप बाद में बताएंगे ना. टीन का
ग्रुप में.
ओके, थैंक यू मैम.
मोस्ट वेलकम. Now next is Krunali. We have taken your question, Krunali, nahi na?
Hello.
Have you taken a question? No. So we'll go to Krunali now.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, Sonali.
Okay.
मैम मुझे एक क्वेश्चन था कि एक प्रीहीट कर रहे हैं हम ओवन, तो उसमें बेकिंग ट्रे भी रखना है ना?
I can't hear you, Krunali. Louder. मैम की आवाज देखो इतनी तेज है.
हेलो.
हाँ बोलिए.
हाँ, हम एक ओवन प्रीहीट कर रहे हैं, तब बेकिंग ट्रे भी हमें प्रीहीट करने रखना है ना साथ में? नहीं.
Now see, when you keep the baking tray preheat करने के लिए and you have to keep 5 of these tins, you might get burned. Why take that pain? You don't have to preheat your tray. Tray में तो कुछ भी नहीं है, क्या preheat करना है? You don't have to preheat the tray.
Just oven ही preheat पूरा.
Yes. Tray को ऐसे बाहर रखो, इसमें tins रखो. Once the preheat is over, just put this tray inside.
Oh.
I have been burned before, Punya is saying. See, don't do that. It can give you like very bad burns.
Oh.
It's super hot. Okay. Anything else, Pranali?
No.
No. Most welcome. Next, we have Ashwini. Sorry. Yes, Ashwini.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I had only one question. Mine is a preset oven, which has every mode in it: toast, bake, preheat, and all. Is it okay if the both rods are on?
I have already said that. If it's a preset, go with the bake mode. No problems with that. What is the brand?
It's Philips 36 liters.
Philips is very good.
Yeah, that's it.
Philips is very good. Murphy Richards is very good. Chroma is good. And then you have Bajaj Majesty, which is very, very good. So you can use these ovens. Philips is very good.
Yeah, but I have one more thing. Do we need to grease our tray with a parchment paper, or is just
Not needed, did I?
No, that's why I saw that. That's why I'm
Not
asking.
needed. Why invest unnecessarily in material and time?
Yeah, that's why, because
It's
usually
not
I'm
needed at
thinking.
all. Nupuri pe tray dena idhar. Now let me show you one more time. See, they are kind of cold now. I switched on the AC because I'm keeping a little unwell since yesterday. See, these are still soft.
Okay.
Nothing is needed.
Yeah, that's why, because usually I use the parchment papers. When I saw this, so I got it
Not
out.
needed, not needed. See, where it's needed, use it there. If it's not needed, why unnecessarily? I feel it's a lot of hassle taking parchment paper, cutting, trimming to the sides, and sometimes the batter gets in. And then when the cake is baked, to peel, the cake also breaks. Not needed.
Is there any other solution for I watched some videos YouTube where they prepare their that grease, that some maida and butter, and they keep it ready. So you
take chilled butter right from the refrigerator, coat it in butter, and use your finger to clearly coat it. Okay. Do not use gloves. Use clean washed hands. So gloves will unnecessarily be not letting you know where it has been coated well. You do not use silicone brushes also, because silicone brush, why I'm telling you finger is because finger will help you apply the right amount of butter all in the nooks and corners. If you use silicone brush, it will allow you to apply more butter. When you have more butter, it will unnecessarily burn the sides of the cakes.
Okay.
Okay. You don't have to make any batter. You don't have to prepare anything. Just a layer of butter and a little dust of flour.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
And then we have Neeru. Neeru, why are you in the chat? Why are you not on the screen? That's why we couldn't see you. Yes, please. Neeru, unmute. That's why we couldn't see you. I'm seeing in the screen.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, Neeru.
हेलो गुड आफ्टरनून मैम।
गुड आफ्टरनून, बोलिए।
हाँ जी मैम, एक मैम मैंने पूछना था, मेरा ओटीजी 30 लीटर का है बोरोसिल का, तो उसका टेम्परेचर कितना होना चाहिए?
उतना ही रखोगे जितना बोला है। 30 लीटर 60 लीटर से कोई फर्क नहीं है। पहले आप इसी के साथ बेक करना स्टार्ट करेंगे।
और मैम एक मेरा ना स्पॉन्ज कई बार ना डोम शेप का बन जाता है।
डोम शेप का इसलिए बनता है क्योंकि हीट ज्यादा है। हीट थोड़ा रिड्यूस करेंगे।
ओके ओके। और मैम मेरा अगला
क्वेश्चन है डोम बनना, सेकंड स्टेज है क्रैक्स लाना, वॉल्केनो। जो मैंने बोला ना, समझाया अभी, प्रेशर फ्रॉम द साइड्स एंड देन डोम एंड देन क्रैक्स।
और मैम अगर हमने रेनबो केक बनाना है तो इसी बैटर को हम कैसे डिवाइड करेंगे? मतलब 6-7 कलर,
जितने कलर में बनाना है उतने कलर में डिवाइड करो और पूरा बेक मत करो, लेके एक एक लेयर बेक करो, बस कम रख के। ये सारे असिस्टेंट्स ग्रुप में होगा। ये सारे असिस्टेंट्स यहाँ नहीं बता सकती ना मैं।
और मैम अगर जैसे आपने बनाना लोफ बनाया, उसके ऊपर जब हम आलमंड्स वगैरह कुछ भी लगाते हैं, वो भी डस्टेड करके लगाने हैं कि ऐसे?
हाँ, अगर कुछ भी हैवी होगा नीरू, तो आपको उसको डस्ट करना मस्ट है, ठीक है। और अगर कुछ लाइट है, जैसे कॉन्फेटी जो होती है ना, फ्लैट कलरफुल, वो आप डाल दे हो, या कोई लाइट वेट चोको चिप्स है जो बेकर्सविले वाला है, बहुत लाइट वेट है, तो वो आप ऊपर डाल सकते हैं। कुछ भी हैवी, वॉलनट्स, आमंड्स, ड्राई फ्रूट्स, फिर आपका टूटी फ्रूटी, सब कुछ डस्ट होना चाहिए।
और मैम ब्रेड में जैसे आपने पाइनएप्पल केक में येलो कलर डाला है,
ब्रेड
ये जरूर
मैंने ईस्ट कप डाला।
ईस्ट नहीं मैम, कलर येलो कलर
ब्रेड में मैंने ब्रेड कप सिखाया।
स्पॉन्ज मैम, स्पॉन्ज में है स्पॉन्ज में मैम।
बहुत लोग बोलते हैं ब्रेड। आई नीड टू करेक्ट यू हियर, इट्स नॉट ब्रेड।
यस थैंक यू।
ठीक है, आप लोग बेकर्स हो, आप ब्रेड बोलोगे तो बाकी जनता कहाँ जाएगी?
ठीक है मैम, थैंक यू।
क्या कलर डाला?
तो मैम वो कलर डालना जरूरी होता है? हम व्हाइट भी रख सकते हैं?
नहीं, वो मुझे थोड़ा सा कलर उसमें अच्छा लगता है, इसलिए आप व्हाइट रख सकते हो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
ओके। और मैम एक क्वेश्चन जो मेजर मेरी प्रॉब्लम है ना, वो ये है कि जैसे हमें ऑर्डर आता है, मान लो 1 kg 2 kg 3 kg, अभी बैटर तो आपने बता दिया कि हमने ये 4 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर दिया, इसको कैसे लेना? हाँ, टिन साइज में मैम हमेशा कंफ्यूजन होता है।
वो ग्रुप में, क्योंकि टिन साइज मेजर लोगों का प्रॉब्लम है, मैं ग्रुप में डाल दूंगी।
ओके मैम,
ठीक है। आप लोग पहले बैटर बनाने से स्टार्ट करो। अभी तो हमें पूरा बूट कैंप फिनिश करना है ना। बैटर टेक 1 क्लास एट अ टाइम। अभी आप
ठीक
हाफ
है
केजी समझ लो, 1 kg समझ लो, हम ग्रेजुअली जाएंगे ना, बढ़ते जाएंगे।
ठीक है। और मैम जैसे ये टॉल केक में तो हम 5 इंचीज ही 2 बार ले लेंगे स्पॉन्ज
हाँ
जो है।
हाँ,
अगर इसको फ्लैट बनाना है फिर कितनी इंची टिन लेंगे?
वही तो बोल रही हूँ ना, जो भी
अच्छा,
जिनका भी क्वेरी है, आज मैंने ये 5 इंच का समझाया, फिर
ओके
अगर
ओके
फ्लैट बनाना है तो उसका बताऊंगी, एक
ओके
एक करके,
ओके
नहीं
मैम।
तो जो बिगिनर्स है वो बहुत कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे।
ठीक है मैम,
ठीक है,
थैंक यू
आप
मैम।
लोग पहले, टुडेज वर्क इज टू मास्टर द रेसिपी, अंडरस्टैंड द रेसिपी, एंड 2-3 दिन में जितनी जल्दी हो सकता है हम ये वीडियोस आपको शेयर करना स्टार्ट कर देंगे, तो आप बेकिंग स्टार्ट कर देना। बेकिंग स्टार्ट
ओके
करके फर्स्ट थिंग इज टू मास्टर बोथ द रेसिपीज, 1 चॉकलेट रेसिपी एंड 1 वनीला मदर रेसिपी, वो दोनों हो जाएंगे। और बनाना लोफ भी थोड़ा डिफरेंट है ना। उसके
मैम
बाद कल
ये
मैं आपको फिलिंग, फ्रॉस्टिंग, कलर, कैसे कलर करना है, डार्क कलर्स कैसे अचीव करने हैं, सारे डिस्कस करेंगे हम।
मैम ये जो स्पॉन्ज है ये ब्राउन कलर, मेरी तो ब्राउन कलर की, अंदर से ब्राउन कलर की होती है, जैसे कटिंग करते हैं तो हल्का
कौन से
ब्राउन
स्पंज का,
शेड।
चॉकलेट का?
नहीं मैम, वनीला का।
वनीला ब्राउन कलर क्यों होता है?
मैम हल्का जैसे ब्राउन आता है, वाइट नहीं आता।
वो इसलिए आपका हो रहा है क्योंकि आपका डोम शेप बनता है, क्योंकि आपकी टेम्परेचर बहुत हाई है। किस
ओके
टेम्परेचर पे बेक
ओके
करते हैं आप?
मैम 150 डिग्री पे।
हाँ, तो आप टेम्परेचर थोड़ा रिड्यूस करिए। आपके ओवन में आप कौन सा रॉड ऑन करते हैं?
मैम मैं दोनों ही करती थी,
हाँ, तो
अपर
बॉटम रॉड
लोअर।
करिए, दोनों करते हैं तभी तो ब्राउन हो रहा है इतना, हर तरफ से हीट लगा रखी है आपने। नाउ सी, स्टार्ट बेकिंग माय रेसिपीज। आपने क्योंकि ये क्लास ले ली है तो आपको प्रोफेशनल रेसिपी ये मिल जाएगी। इस रेसिपी को मैंने जो टेम्परेचर बोला है प्लीज उस पर बेक करिए, उसके बाद कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रही है विल डिस्कस।
मैम जैसे बाहर से जैसे मैं 150 डिग्री रखती हूँ तो अंदर मैं वो टेम्परेचर वाली वॉच
अभी आप
रखती हूँ तो।
टेम्परेचर रिड्यूस नहीं करेंगे नीरू, अभी आप सबसे
ठीक है,
पहले मेरे रेसिपी को बेक करिए, जो टेम्परेचर मैंने बोला है उसी टेम्परेचर पे।
ओके
हो सकता है
ओके
कि आपका दूसरी जो रेसिपी है उस पे 150 पे ना हो रहा हो, मेरे पे हो जाए, तो रेसिपीज भी अलग अलग होती है ना। इस पे आपको प्रॉब्लम है, आप प्लीज फोटो खींच के ग्रुप में डालिए।
ठीक है मैम, क्योंकि मैं बॉटम रोड से बनाऊंगी ना, अब पहले दोनों
बॉटम
रोड ऑन
रॉड से
थे।
बनाओगे ना, इसलिए कह
हाँ
रही हूँ,
जी
पहले ये सारे सेटिंग चेंज मत करो।
हाँ जी,
पहले
ठीक
आपको जो
ठीक।
चीजें, क्योंकि फिर कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे कि रॉड की वजह से हुआ या रेसिपी की वजह से हुआ। तो आप जो
ओके
मैंने टेम्परेचर सेटिंग, बॉटम रॉड और मिडिल रैक सब कुछ बताया वो करिए, और मेरी रेसिपी को लेके करिए। उसके बाद आपको कोई और लगता है तो आप देख लेना,
ठीक है मैम,
आप
थैंक
मुझे
यू मैम,
व्हाट्सएप पे डाल देना ग्रुप में।
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू।
मोस्ट वेलकम। और कुछ बचा हमारा? अच्छा, शिल्पा नहीं, मालिनी। हाँ मालिनी जी, यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन।
Ma'am, I have
Yes.
3 questions. Very good
Yes,
afternoon.
please.
One thing is, if we make in kadai, and when we are preheating the kadai, do we put a thermometer to check the?
No, not required. You just
Not
take a
required.
little salt underneath at the bottom of the kadai, like on the layer, and then preheat it for 10 minutes, and then you don't need any thermometer.
Okay, and ganache is made with the cream, right?
Cream and chocolate?
Chocolate. Okay, I just wanted to know. And apart from Mordiv, which other compounds do we use?
We have shared. Have you shared in the message, Nupur? Not yet. We are sharing it in the chat.
Okay, and any idea of baking suppliers in Pune?
Baking suppliers in Pune, I can find out from my other groups.
Please, because I have no
Okay.
idea about
Yes,
all this.
I'll try and find out if there are suppliers that I can find. I'll put it in your group.
Thanks so much.
No problem. All the best. And do we have Shilpa ke और questions are Shilpa and Brinda. First we'll go to Brinda. Brinda has been waiting.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Brinda.
I'm so thankful that you are giving a very detailed, explanation. Thank you, ma'am. I have just one question. Instead of using curd, if at all I have to use egg, when should I use and how many I have to use?
Very good question, Brinda. For all those who really want to use, make a curd, instead of making an egg-free recipe, if you want to convert it into an egg one, so what you can do is you can replace the curd in the recipe in full batter, the full mother recipe of your vanilla sponge. You replace the entire amount of curd with 3 eggs.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And for the chocolate recipe, you can skip baking soda and lemon juice because that's the leavening agent. Baking soda and lemon juice react together, form the bubbles. That's the frothing agent and the leavening agent, right? You replace it with 2 eggs.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, most welcome. Anything else? Yes, Shilpa. Last question for the day.
हेलो शेफ फिर से
Yeah.
शेफ जैसे आपने बोला था कि किसी ने मतलब बैटर बना के छोड़ दिया था और 9 दिन बाद में बनाया, बट जो बेकिंग सोडा और बेकिंग पाउडर है वो मतलब बोलते हैं कोई कि उसका जो क्या
I
बोलते
was
हैं
really,
या
Shilpa, I'll be honest with you, I was so surprised because I had never done it myself. So she was the one who had first informed that ये recipe actually में 9 दिन survive कर सकती है. So I had no idea. So after she said it, then recently she's taken our class like 4-5 years back. And recently I tried to make it into a reel, and that was an experiment with me, and it comes out beautifully. I was myself surprised.
Yeah, I saw your reel actually. तो I was like यार शेफ बता तो रहे, कोई
आप
बोलता
खुद
उसके
बना के
react-
देखना ना, तब बहुत लोग बोल रहे हैं कि ये नहीं पहले रखा होगा बाद में रखा होगा, नहीं, but we don't do this. I wanted to experiment, and when it worked, we put it out as a reel, and it actually worked.
Okay. और जो
बस ये
next
ध्यान रखना कि आप जब रख रहे हो, it should be completely in airtight, so that it's not getting spoiled. Like if you keep on opening the door of your refrigerator 1,000 times a day, and the refrigerator is not having a cool temperature, but it's more like an almirah कि ठंडा नहीं हो रहा, तो फिर तो spoil हो जाएगी आपकी बैटर, because curd based recipe है.
या शेफ और जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है वो आउट ऑफ सिलेबस है। जैसे आप बैंगलोर आ रहे हो बेकर्स मीट के लिए, मैं ये जानना चाहती हूँ पूरे 3 दिन आप वहीं रहोगे क्या?
I'm hosting the event.
Okay, so
I'm the host of the event, so I'll be there not 3 days but 5 days. I'm reaching there on 12th. I'll be back on the 16th.
Yeah, तो मैं
And
actually
I'm also bringing something like I did the bride cake for India Bake Show, and I also did Sri Ram Lalla for Bakers Village. This time also I'm trying to bring in something. Let's see.
Okay, chef, तो फिर जरूरी है आना
मिलेंगे पक्का. Are you from Bangalore?
Yes, chef.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I might also need some help from you.
Okay, okay, जरूर.
Okay, lovely. Great.
Thank you so
great to
much.
know that. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Madhushmita. Madhushmita, क्या हुआ? जाते टाइम याद आया कोई क्वेश्चन? बोलो. Unmute कर आंसर. हाँ.
Good afternoon. Actually, I am from Dubai, ma'am.
Okay, Madhushmita.
OTG is 70 liters. 70
Yes.
liter OTG. And there is no option for lower rack plus fan mode.
So what is your option now? Is it an inbuilt oven?
Kenwood.
Kenwood. It's an inbuilt, right? So all those who have an inbuilt oven, please make sure that you bake at 120 degrees and not 150 degrees. Please keep this as a note. All those who have an inbuilt oven, please bake it at, start with 120 degrees. Because, I'll tell you why, because anything which is an inbuilt has a lot of heat coming in from all the sides. Now, if it is 150, it is going to have cracks. It is going to... Bunya, you also have an inbuilt. Please bake it at 120. Start with 120. Okay?
Ma'am,
now, you know the options. You can send me the photograph in the group. I'll tell you which settings to go.
There is both rod on and fan mode. And 160 to 1...
ovens, it is going to be both rod on, because see, the capacity is this. The gap is huge. For our OTGs, the capacity is this. So
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you, anybody who has an inbuilt, you need both the rods on.
What is the temperature, ma'am? In manual, they mention 160 to 180 degree.
No, 160 is too high for cakes. Because I've seen all those, my students, those who bake at 160, 180, they keep burning their cakes. So start with 120. 120, 130, not more than, not beyond that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so
much.
Most
welcome. Most welcome. Good question. Okay, we have Shinika. Tainika. Okay.
Hi, one quick question. If we are using Dutch processed cocoa powder, should the quantity of sugar be adjusted or will it remain same?
No, it remains the same. Because it's not sweetened cocoa powder, na?
Yes.
But it's amazing. Just give it a try. It's amazing, actually. Okay, wonderful to have you all here today. All the best. I hope your queries have been resolved for now. And tomorrow we are going to fill and frost the same cakes that we have baked today. We are allowing them to cool down and get chilled completely overnight. And tomorrow I'll see you at 10 a.m. again. Okay? Thank you so much.